All right, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of The Usual Suspects. I am AA Ron, also known as Fourzze. You can find me and my work on repulsecollectibles.com. To my right on the screen is my co-host and little saber brother, AA Ron Johannen, the Shadow Tech
What's
Saber Man.
what's up, man?
What's cooking, dude? You all right?
Yeah, been looking forward to today.
Always am. Always are. Always is. Always is. Oh, man. And to the south and right of me, we have linked from repulsecollectibles.com, the owner and proprietor.
What's up?
What's going on? And our special guest is here early. Jeff Birch to the south. What's up, dude?
Hey, how's everybody doing?
So, doing all right. So, welcome everybody to the stream. In the comments section, we have Mr. Jeff Rode. How are you, Jeff? Good to see you. And Darth Eddie wasn't here first. He's slacking. Shameful. Mike, the Ninja Jedi Order, we're going to wish a very happy anniversary to him this evening. Unfortunately, he will not be able to be with us, but he is celebrating with his loved one, and we wish him all the best, and we will see him next Friday on the Usual Suspects halftime show on Jedi Knight Jeff's channel.
Congrats.
Roll.
Treat her right so that she lets you come and play.
PG-13, Jeff. No, I'm kidding. That is PG-13. Wade Sabers. That would
What's
be
up?
Mr. Russell, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
How
what's
are
up,
ya?
Russell? Welcome.
We've got my sister-in-law, Donna.
Oh, hey.
I don't know who this guy is. Doing good. How's the weekend going?
Hey,
Lord Reaver, what's
hey.
going on?
Forrest, check your Facebook Messenger.
Ba-boom. Oh, man.
I got a
So-
demo blade.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, I got it from Bindu. You know, these things, they're really convenient, but it is kind of weird.
Did you ever hear that story of the short blades and me?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe.
So
One of these
I had a little crossguard blade in LED, and when the what was it, the igniter, whichever one came out with the NEC ones, I just threw some scrap blade in there and was using that for a long time. And people were like, "Oh, the weight of the blade's off," and da 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 da. I'm like, "Hey, I'm a nerd that travels. I just need something that fits in my backpack."
Yeah.
So I feel like I was using those before they were cool, as everybody was making fun of them.
Yeah. Yeah. It is pretty interesting. But I will say I'm excited to use that because, if I need to do a font demo or something, man, swinging around a 3-foot blade is just not practical.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but that'll also be part of some future upgrades as far as like we're moving probably in another month and a half and ish, something like that. The closing date could get shifted, you know how that works, but it's I'll have a proper office and then I won't have a need for a green screen, which will be really great. So, because like right now it's like, well, there it goes. It went into deep sleep mode. But yeah, if I light it off right now, all that green screen, man.
That's scary.
Yeah.
All right. So, tonight, like any other night, is always a special one. First and foremost, we're going to say hello to this guy right here.
Hello.
Preston!
Hola.
Hello there.
What's up?
And then we lost Brandon.
Oh,
Of course we did. All right. So, y'all know Preston from Syndicate Custom Relics. Tonight is a special night because, number one, we are welcoming him as a permanent addition to the usual suspects. So, welcome aboard, my dude. That's always fantastic. Not only that, but Brandon, would you like to make the official welcome?
Yeah, no. Sorry, I was. Hey, Preston, what's up, brother?
What's going on, brother?
Yeah, okay. So obviously, everyone's seen, Preston joined the usual suspects. What was it, last week before?
Something like that. Yep.
And then he is now Syndicate Custom Relics is now officially a font maker on board the team at Repulse Collectibles. We're very happy to have him on board. He has an incredible, huge library of stuff. Everyone should go check it out and drop thousands of dollars on all the things and do the, so. And no, but for real, like the guy has
1,000 subscribers.
Yeah, the guy has an incredible talent. He has a lot of really diverse library of sounds. You won't be disappointed. Add them to your collection today, man. I promise you'll love them.
Fantastic stuff. So we're going to do to Preston the same thing we do to all of our guests. The first hour of tonight is going to be devoted to him. Everybody you see on screen is going to be able to ask him 2 questions. And then for the remaining time that we have, after Jedi Knight Jeff joins us, and after Max joins us, and after Jeremy Moon joins us, if he can make it, the floor will be Preston's to basically talk about anything he wants to until the 10 o'clock hour. Ron. Well, first, Preston, are you ready for this thing?
Yeah, sure. I'm always down for the ride.
Everybody in the comments section, good evening and thank you for being here. Always happy that you're able to make it. Ron, the floor is yours. Your questions.
Cool. Let's see. Here's a good one. Preston, do you have any new sound fonts coming sometime soon? Anything you can tease?
I teased a few last week, and that those are the ones I'm still working on top of still working off my commission list. I'm trying to work it down so I can have more time to do those personal projects. The ones that I'm working on that I showcased last week are a Godspeed font, an Obi-Wan font for Russell, and a mother box font. So this week, I worked on a few commissions, and then people that saw the birthday post I did for my son.
No, that was
Okay,
great.
cool.
That was really awesome, man.
Thank you. He loved it.
Yeah, he seemed like it.
Let's see. Oh, I am curious. What's your favorite lightsaber blade color?
That's tough, man. It really. I guess it depends on the font. But I tend to be drawn more towards the less used colors, like Cal Kestis's orange blade or a Mace Windu purple. Like I like using something a little different than your average.
Yeah.
Average blade color. Like you see a lot of blues and greens and reds.
Mm-hmm.
So
Awesome.
Brandon, you're up.
Yeah, so I would say what got you into making sound fonts? How did you find out about it, and what, got you really interested in trying it out and all that stuff?
So man, that's the greatest question ever. So when I first started getting into lightsabers, and then I started seeing people do these, like you, for instance, you do the movie fonts, like, Predator and Terminator. And I started seeing all these different, like, out of universe fonts, you know, and I was like, okay, okay. And then I started like putting it into my head, like, well, what would I like to see that, you know, I hadn't seen anything of? And I reached out and had a commission done, and I was okay with the result, but after it, I was like, you know, I know sound. I've done sound for quite a while. I started playing guitar when I was 13. I used to back in high school and like my early 20s. I would mix a little music here and there, using a couple of different programs on my computers, and so I know about layering and doing things like that. So I started researching. Like, I didn't really want to jump out into the group and be like, because I mean, I was still kind of a noob, and I didn't really know like if that was an appropriate question to like reach out and ask, like, how do you do this? And I guess I always thought it was like a trade secret. Like, so I Googled it, and I come upon a 4-year-old Reddit post, and scrolling down through the comments, one person mentioned using Audacity, and one reply to that comment was the format to use. And that's exactly where I started, some old Reddit post. And I was like, okay. So I downloaded Audacity, and then I started just Superman was actually the first font that I made. Krypton's Last Son. It was the very first font I made. I just didn't release it for a while.
That's awesome, man. No, I really
Yep.
like that. What's your okay? So for the fans listening in, and actually somebody in the chat said, I think it was Jeff wrote. He said, "Congrats, Syndicate. I first heard of your fonts from Jeremy Puckett. How long ago did you start making fonts?"
I started making fonts probably about this time last year. Is when I started really kind of trying to invest in working on some. And I put my first one up for sale on Christmas Day.
Oh, cool.
So every Christmas it'll be like a fun, you know, like another fun day. Like, you can always do a Christmas sale and celebrate like an anniversary. So
Someone's cell phone is too close to the mic. Sorry to interrupt.
No, I heard
might be
that too.
That might be mine.
Yeah, but go ahead, Preston. Sorry.
But yeah, I've been making them for almost a year now.
Nice.
Is when I started working on that Superman font.
Nice, man. And I don't know if you saw it, but Cole is in the chat, and he says,
Oh, yeah.
"Hey, Preston, did you see that?" He's like,
I
"What's?"
laughed. He needs it to go with his Repulse Speedo.
Yeah.
So do you want a tankini, like a little tankini and a half top, Cole? Like, I can hook you up, man. We can get that going,
dude. I swear this is so. I love it. I love it.
He's a great guy.
Oh, I
Always
love Cole. Yo, hey, shout out to Cole. He did some artwork for Mike, which Mike's not here tonight. Ninja Jedi Order. He's not here tonight. He has his anniversary. So happy anniversary to Mike. And but Cole did some really cool fan art for Mike, and give him a follow, man. It's pretty cool stuff.
If I haven't already, I'll need to be sure to, because I always see the stuff that he posts. I think it's really cool, especially from someone who does art myself. I always appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
It's always cool stuff. Speaking of, I don't know how well this will showcase, but it is just now beginning. Let's see.
Oh, cool. Is that that's like a calendar?
That's awesome.
Yo,
It's not.
dude.
It's. There we go.
That's really cool. So it's like the Death Star kind of looking thing?
Yeah, and then what's not done yet with the outline is Vader, and then it's going to be pretty neat looking when it's done.
Man, you going to be selling that?
Yep.
Where are people going to be able to find such things?
On my website. That is why I kept my website up when I made the transition to Repulse
Mhm.
and accepted your offer. I decided to keep the website up for I decided to keep the website up for the woodwork that I do, and eventually I plan to do like RTS sabers, get some empty, install them after I install them.
Very cool.
That's on down the road though. I've got 4 people in my house that I can get lightsabers and mess with. So
There you go.
that's a good portfolio to build from before I start trying to be like, hey, I'll offer this service, so I'll do that. Like, I want to get a portfolio up. So
Preston, Wade Sabers asked, "What is your favorite font?"
he would,
Yeah.
of course, you would, Russell.
Yeah, bro.
Knowing, like, I can't even decide what to eat most nights. Man, that's so hard. Can I pick one a piece? One like more Jedi and one more Sith.
Sure, go for it.
If Sith font would probably be Sith Chant. I've spoken a little bit about how much I layered into that. Literally every sound has probably a base minimum of 5 layers. Some of them have 6 to 7. Like, it was ridiculous, but it was so much fun, and the end result was just amazing. So I would say that one, and then for a Jedi font or a more in-universe font would probably be Merrick Unleashed, my Star Killer font. I really, really am happy with that one too.
Nice.
No, that's cool.
Yeah.
Hey, I wanna give a shout out to Preston too, because Sith Chant is actually like the first font of his that I tried out, and one of the things that led me to calling him to talk about it, which then eventually led to us getting to know each other and me wanting to bring him on to Repulse, because when he talks about those layers, like that's something that I like to do in a lot of my work, and so I'm like listening to it, and I'm like, wait, did he layer? Did he do this? Did he? And I'm like, I'm like, yo, what? Wait, what's that? What? I'm like, I'm peeling back the layers, and I'm like, dude, this is sick, man.
It's so much
yeah.
fun when you hear it that way with an artist ear, and just like you said, peel back those layers, man.
Yeah, peeling it, man. Yeah,
Yeah, man, I love it.
Seriously, no, it really is though. It really is. That's what I love about him, because a lot of people will say, I'll say this: if you're someone who's interested in creating sound fonts or something, don't let the fact that there's a million of them out there stop you, because there's two big reasons, and this is just for general audience, but like people can do that. They can layer in, and you truly can make your version of something, or just something completely unique. It's super easy to do, as far as there's always room in the community for that creativity, right? But number 2 is, especially if you go for character base, and I've told this to all these guys, I've said, it doesn't matter how many Luke Skywalker fonts are out there or Darth Vader ones. The people that are fans of those characters, they want all of them. So if there's a million of them that are out there, they want all million of them, and that's just how this hobby works. And people are love these characters, they love the sounds, and they'll go for it every time. So don't ever be discouraged to get creative and go for it, right?
I'll support anybody and purchase anybody that has a Maul font. I'll purchase it.
Yeah.
I'm waiting on my DM 2021, whatever they're calling it now. Man, I'm waiting on that thing. Like, I don't care. I understand delays happen. I'm not using my live stream to complain. I'm anxiously awaiting it. Like, I love Maul, and I can't wait to get that staff. Man, and then get it installed, and just, I don't want anything else on it. Just load it with Maul fonts and give it to me.
Yeah, man. Absolutely.
That was a fun one too. If I had a third place, that would be a third place font because I
Mhm.
put a lot into that. There's a lot of extra quotes and there's a lot of good stuff on that font.
Hey, Preston. So Isaac says he's got a second rapier coming next week. Do you have any fonts for something like that? You know what I'm talking about, like the rapiers, like the with the guard on them. It's like a fencing thing almost.
The like a swordy type font. The only thing I have that kind of sounds like swordy, like metal-y, is the Aquaman font, but it's also very watery. So,
Yeah.
um,
Was that
I want,
Atlan's trident or something?
mhm.
Yeah.
And it makes it has a lot of metal sound to it. But no, nothing that would scream like a good like samurai sword or a good like that kind of whipping kind of sound. Like, no, I don't have anything quite like that. I think those sabers are really underrated. If you like that type, I think they're really nice on the hilt. I like
Nice.
the big piece that goes over your hand. Man, I love that.
Yeah.
I
no,
know
those
it.
are
I know
cool.
it's bulky, but it's really cool looking. Something you don't see on like every saber.
Well, hey, Mr. Jeff Birch, do you have any questions
Yeah.
for Preston?
Oh man, I feel like I crashed because usually I hop on after this part, but I do happen to. So the first one, I think, where you and I were on one of these, you had mentioned the flash package. So I did just pick up that, especially because Repulse has you listed on there now, so it's a lot easier to find.
Right.
And then I also got something that was like a good, happy surprise, I think. So that's my first question is why Snoochie Boochies?
Why not?
Man,
I didn't think you were
okay.
that old.
So that is one of my favorite movies. I love Kevin Smith, and I've always loved that scene. I always loved the Star Wars references that they drop. And I was sitting around watching it one afternoon, and I was like, dude, I need to make this. Like we watched when that scene come up, I looked over at my brother, and I was like, dude, I've got to make this.
I mean,
I've
Mark
gotta
Hamill's
make
in it
this.
too.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, man, it's full of Star Wars references. I love it.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was just it to me. It felt like it had to be done, and I wanted it. Somebody else had one, but it wasn't. It's called the Bong Saber font.
Mhm.
Maybe I might.
Yeah.
And I listened to that, but I was like, I need something a little different. And so I listened to the clips over and over, and I tried to really kind of nail it for accuracy. Honestly, it's kind of weird. I was like, maybe I can make it sound like that. So I got the deep kind of the smooth swings were kind of deep and bassy kind of with that, and I had a lot of fun with it. It was loads of fun, and yeah, it had to be done, man. I'm a super fan of the movie. It just had to be done.
Yeah, no, I agree. When 20 years ago when I was in, I don't think any movie caused me to do so many push-ups in my life. Because when I was new to the Marines, a buddy of mine and I, we loved Mallrats and all of them, and we would stand outside our shop, and we just, I was the fat one, and I'd just sit there, and I know I'm not supposed to speak being the fat one, but I'd go, and then the sergeant would come out, push. So I had to pick that one up. And then the what was the name of it? That Link mentioned, Sith Chant. So I checked that one out, and I don't know. For me, I've always really liked like the Dark Saber, or just the ones that sound like electric and have all those layers. So I had a talk with Link, and he mentioned all the different layers in your stuff, and I like that one. So I wanted to know the hum on that is very layered. It's like electric. You've got a lot of like the going around in it. So what was going through your mind? Why did you make that one?
Okay, so the inspiration from that for that font came from Blue Force Company's Legion. And I was like, I don't want to do something the same, but I had been at that point in time, a customer had been wanting something on his font, and we'd been talking back and forth a lot about the Jedi code and the Sith code. And I listened to that font one night as it came across my YouTube, and I was like, man, that sounds sick. And I heard like the layers, and that's at the point where I really started getting into it. I was like, man, that sounds really deep. And I did as Link said, I'm like peeling back the layers of that font. And I was like, I want to make something that intricate. I want to make something that sick. And I came up with this idea to take and I use a voice generator and a couple other programs, and I decided to take and generate a person speaking the Sith code. And then I did it again at a different pitch, and then I did it again at a whisper. And I layered in these ghostly whispers but it's ghostly whispers like saber sounds, the actual Sith code being spoken. And yeah, I kept on going with it, man. I love it. I love that font. I really do.
Cool. Yeah, great.
And this is the
great
reason
job.
why Preston needs 1,000 subscribers tonight, ladies and gentlemen. So y'all get on that. All right, my turn, Mr. Preston.
Yes, sir.
What is the future of Syndicate Custom Relics at this point, as you're seeing it right now, as you've joined Repulse Collectibles? As you know, as things are continuing to unfold, obviously, you know, you've got some work, you've got some things coming down the pike. I've got some pictures that we're going to be showing when it's time for you to be on the soapbox. And but briefly, tell us what the future holds in the next few months for you, and you know, what you're hoping to achieve here in the community with everybody.
Well, this past week, I've taken a little bit off of time of fonts and worked on the pictures, the thing for my son. Excuse me. I worked on the wood piece. I started working on that. So I'm going to work on finishing my commission list down to absolutely nothing, to no person at all. And when I get there, I may open font commissions, I may not. I'm not ever going to stop making fonts because I love sound too much. I actually don't. When we get in live streams and everybody starts talking about TV, you'll notice I just kind of sit back and eat some popcorn. You can spoil whatever you want to. I get around to watching things when I do, because I don't have a lot of time where I sit down and watch things that I haven't seen, because it's when I'm doing something and focusing on my work, it's all noise to me. So I try to put on some music and kind of zone out and do things. So sound is always a part of anything that I'm doing. So I'll never quit making fonts. But once the commission list is down, I'll probably put out put out like a couple a month, a few a month, and start doing more with the woodwork and more with the installs and such, and just kind of really sky's the limit. I mean, I'm not gonna get to where I'm like a saber smith, but I definitely want to do more with sabers themselves. Installing, customizing them. I really like weathering. That's a lot of fun for me.
Putting deep gashes and scars and stuff.
Man.
Yeah.
You know what I loved? If y'all didn't see it, that video with him and his son, and like, dude, the reaction on your son's face was just great. He was so pumped about it. Like, he was like, "Whoa, dude! Like, look how deep these gashes are." Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Question number 2. What?
Sorry, I know my camera just went off.
No, you're good, man. Can you still hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. I'm turning my notifications off
Okay.
because
All right,
it
cool.
keeps going off in my ear.
Oh, well, it's our group chat and it's going nuts.
No,
It's
I
going
know.
off in mine too. So y'all have to forgive me if this was asked earlier. I was trying to. The reason I was all patchy and laggy and stuff is because the PS5 was left on and it was on YouTube, so I had to turn that off. And Jeff was like, "Night and day." So
Right.
yeah, I'm seeing it. So once my daughter turns the Roku off, I'm sure the pixelation on my screen will clear up. So what scene, like what individual scene from all 9 movies, I don't care, your favorite one, what scene impacted you the most? What drives you? Like what's that one moment out of them all that really just kind of lights your Star Wars fire?
There's not really, because there's moments in each trilogy that it happens.
Mhm.
Every trilogy has been a generation. It hasn't been like, oh, there's a trilogy 5 years ago and there's another trilogy now. Like, no, every trilogy that's dropped has been like an entire generation
Mhm.
of people. My dad's generation is when it he saw it in his 20s, or yeah. And it's like I have one from every trilogy. Biggest reasons being that it's the transition through it. The biggest one in the first trilogy is in episode 3, because I just, something about the fall of Anakin, like you knew it was coming when the prequels came out, because
Yeah.
you had already seen episode 4, 5, and 6. Like you knew he wasn't going to stay a good guy, and even though you saw all these good qualities, it's like, yeah, he's going downhill, and there's it's already written in stone. It's not going to happen.
Because of
So,
Obi-Wan.
because of Obi-Wan.
Because
It
of
did
Obi-Wan.
happen because of Obi-Wan. But I'm telling you. But there was that, and then the moment in 5, when when he finally finds out he's Luke's Anakin's his father, and
Mhm.
that
Spoiler
moment,
alert.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
spoiler
then
alert, guys.
and then in the end of episode 9, just because that was pretty cool. That was a pretty cool moment. Not hard, not the end when she's fighting Palpatine. Transition to Ben Solo. Transition back to the
Yeah.
light was the biggest moment for me in all of that right there. When she put the saber behind her back and let go, and he picked it up, oh, I come out of my seat, man. I come
Yeah.
unglued. I was like, I was going crazy. I loved it. So yeah, that it's just about those key moments though. But in every trilogy, I guess.
That's excellent. So, where are we at? We're at 9:30. Jeff is running late. Still waiting on Max and Jeremy. But at this point, I'm going to ask the comment section. Well, let's see. We've done pretty okay with keeping up with the comment section. Mr. Co-host, what do we got up there? Any questions up in the comment section that has not been answered yet?
Jeff's question.
Oh,
Jeff
yeah,
wrote.
Jeff Rowe just said for
I looked
Preston
at
or anyone else, if they want, for your customers with commissions, what is the most helpful thing that we as customers can do?
Hang on, I'm trying to scroll up to that. Get that on the screen.
That's really a hard question. I don't know. I mean, font making is, well, not font making, but working with customers. It's a different experience every time. I couldn't say what would be good for one would be good for the rest. I can only say that what my preferences truly are, but I don't care to ever work with anybody. And just because my preference is one thing, it doesn't mean that I'm not going to make a font for somebody. Um, for instance, I prefer a lot of creative control. The more creative control I get, the faster your font gets done, period. Because I can work in my own mind. The less I have to go back and forth with a customer, and the more that I can work for my own mind. Like somebody gives me a theme. I'm just gonna throw this out there. Shane Moore. When he wanted a hilt for his or font for his Menace Hilt run, he said, I want this, it's going to be for the Menace Hilt run. I'm like, all right, what's up? And he's like, well, how are you with creative control? I'm like, fantastic, like we need. And he's like, I'm wanting something dark, and I'm wanting something, kind of fitting for this, for this hilt. And I'm like, is that it? He's like, yep. I was like, okay. And so I was like, I kind of want something dark or whatever. And I started going at it, and like I sent him, a couple samples, and he's like, man, I love it. You're going spot on. Just keep on going. And like, I don't know, maybe about a week later, I hit him with a full demo, and he's like, man, it's great. You knocked it out of the park. And he really likes it. I don't care if a person wants to take 2 months and they want to be picky about it and I don't say picky in a bad way, but choosy. If they want to choose every single sound that goes into there, that's fine. That's cool. Just don't expect me to get it done in a week, because it's a lot harder when I've got to find things that I'm not used to having to search for, or work in a way that, like, I work in my own way and my own, like, kind of just process, I guess. And when I have to break that process and work the way a customer wants, it just takes more time is all. Doesn't upset me. It doesn't make me any less excited to do it or anything like that. It just takes more time. But I do like having creative control because it's just a lot of fun. I worry, not in a bad way, not like, are they going to be pissed at me? But I worry, like when I'm making a font, is this person going to like what I come up with? Or am I going to hit them with this demo and they're like, man, that's not what I'm looking for. And then, and instead of moving on, I got to go back to the drawing board. And then, I start working on it again and get them a hum and some smooth swings, and I hit them with a little demo, and that's not quite what I'm looking for. And I got to go back to the drawing board again. It's like, sometimes it can take a time or two, or a lot more than that. But past that, when the best thing that customers can do, any customer always, if you want something specific in a font, send me the demo. Send me, like, if you're wanting, like, hey, I want this quote here. Don't send me a 5-minute video and say it's 3 minutes in. Just go and clip it yourself the same way I would, and then send me, 10 seconds audio. It's fine. It's not a big deal. It just helps. But I can do it because that's what you pay me for. So, nothing really. It's all preferences.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I really like that straightforward approach. I mean, it tells people right off the bat, this is how I do things. This is how it's going to roll. Don't like it, move on. There's 27 other font makers out there, so
yep.
Yeah, dude.
And I always do my best to please somebody. Like, I'm not gonna go and I'm not gonna be short. I'm not gonna answer somebody and be rude. I'm gonna try to work the best that I can. And have I gotten frustrated at customers? Well, hell yeah. Do I let them know that? Not until now, and none of them are gonna know who they are. So I mean, it happens. I get frustrated at my wife, my kids, my brother. I get frustrated at myself. People make you frustrated sometimes. I'm not rude to anybody though. I want to nail things. And sometimes when I can't nail it on the first time, I get frustrated. And I don't express it because it's more the perfectionist in me that wants that than me actually being frustrated at someone else for them not quite liking. They're like, oh, well, that's it, but not quite right. Well, I'm really just frustrated because of the fact, or at myself more than at the customer. But it happens.
Yeah. Well, at this juncture,
Chris?
my dude, I want to give you the last 20 minutes of your guest time to basically touch on anything that you want. I have the pictures that you sent loaded and ready to show. I have, let's see, it let me load, one sec. It let me load 14 of them, so I tried to pick the best ones I could.
You're good, man.
So
1
it's your
second.
show.
1 second. So y'all were talking, fat stuff. I have a box of these. They're Twinkie smelling candles.
Oh, man.
It keeps me from eating them though, bro. You know what I'm saying? It like makes my little area smell good.
That is the most interesting thing, and I love it.
I'm telling you, Twinkie candles are the best, man.
I didn't even
They're
know
the
that was a
best.
thing, but I'm not surprised at all.
My brother brought them home from his work, and they were fantastic. Is
You
this?
better keep a Twinkie away from me, bro.
They're
It's gone.
racing in Manchester. Very fast, very dangerous.
Very dangerous.
Jedi.
I'm looking for.
This is my apprentice, Darth Maul. I know the true
There you
power
go.
of the dark side.
Since we've been talking about it all day, right? So this is my son's lightsaber.
Look at those gashes.
A saber is gnarly.
He wanted something like this. This is just weathered here, and then yep. So a little info on it now that I'm actually doing a little more than just his reveal on it. So in a very, very quick effort, Russell at Wade Sabers hooked me up with a chassis and the few extra parts that I needed. I had outsourced my own. I do this most of the time if I can. It's just a preference. It's not to crap on anybody else. I did outsource my own speaker. This is a 31 millimeter high bass speaker. Russell made the chassis. It's a fully removable chassis. I used the rocker kill switch, the speaker, Profi board, and let's see. Try to get it pretty clean in there. It's a nice tight fit. There's not a lot of slack on anything. No, it's not loaded down with hot glue. The board is in a slot spot. That's why there's nothing over it. The way that Russell does these is the absolute freaking coolest.
Hats off to Russell.
Yes. He is probably one of my best friends in the whole community, and he's got my support hands down as about one of the best builders I've ever seen. He's creative a lot more than he gets work for or credit for.
Sorry, I had to call that out. I get so much crap over that, and that's twice now. You said Profi and
Profi?
more.
Profi.
I say Profi. Frederick did a video and he said Profi. So everybody since then is like, it's Prof. He said it.
Profi.
I'm
Yeah,
about
but
to- I'm about
he
to- I'm about
Profi.
to-
Oh,
I'm
we're
about to
cool.
Hermione Granger you, okay?
Yeah.
It's Profi, not
It's-
Profi.
Yeah. Yeah.
Leviosa.
So,
Just so you know,
Leviosa.
Oh,
No.
she hated that accent too in the first movie. But See how it slots right down in here and pops up, and then
That's nice.
it
Hold on. Show us that again.
let's see. It just slots. There's a little slot that it sits down into, and then you snap it kind of in place there,
Okay, I see that.
and it just let's see.
That's nice.
It just slides on back up. It slides up a little bit into this
Oh,
little
neat.
into this little notch area right here. It slides up and
Huh.
it just sits in place right there.
Now, with the USB access port there, when you have to plug in to change your font stuff out, will the that little snap tight spot, will that hold it in place while you're trying to plug in and remove the cord if you need to? Like, is that sturdy enough?
Trying to figure out which way my so it pops up right here. I usually don't grab the board just for safety. I could with my thumb, but I'm not going to. So I reach under there with something and just pry the corner up right here.
Okay.
And then it slides down it slides this way. And then when it slides that way, all the back is, see how there's that little edge right there that's just on the back of the board right here?
Yes.
See if I can get it to zoom in. Anyways, that little edge is what kind of holds it in place. And then it all snaps down in there. And then when you pull the top part up, it frees the board up to come at an angle so you can plug the USB in.
Okay, that's excellent, dude.
And then
that's figured out really well.
It said, yeah, he does an awesome job with those little things, man. I don't know where he comes up with this stuff, man. His brain is just his brain is always going on something, and he's a true artist.
Creative minds, my friend. Creative minds.
Don't
and
mind
that's
me,
a
I'm just
gentleman
gonna-
who needs some subscribers and some
He does.
notoriety.
He
Seriously.
does. He needs it. I can't wait to see the run that's coming.
Hey, just out of curiosity, let's go ahead while I'm here. Let's give him a plug. Is he Facebook and Instagram, or just Facebook, or
Facebook and Instagram.
okay, just WADE Sabers?
As far as I know.
I need to jot that little chassis detail down for when I design my chassis. That's really neat.
Yeah, he he always comes up with these neat little innovations, and that is definitely cool because I don't like tape on the board.
Mm-hmm.
Now, something that he used to do before the slot was this. This is also a Del Ren chassis, which is, from what I understand, pretty damn hard to make. But let's see, where is it? There's a little O-ring right there, and it goes across the board, and it's in this little bitty slot in the chassis, so it's like flush, but it's right there in that little bitty slot, and then it goes over. And that's something that he used to do and then you can just grab up on the board and it pulls right up like no problem. So yeah, he's always had the neatest little designs for access, because that's something that I'm big on, man. In my installs that I get or reach out for, I need full access. I need board access. I need SD card access. I need battery access. I need access to it all. And I didn't want to go crazy with my first install, so I went with this for my son. And like I said, it has a fully removable chassis, and it's his first, and it's my first install, and so it was pretty cool. I really liked it. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome, good sir.
Yeah, I copied you a cable. I don't know if it'll show up in the public chat, but I put it in both. It's a lifesaver. It's a right angle, because a lot of the installs that I was doing, it just didn't have a lot of room. So, it's a right angle. It's at the perfect angle. Sometimes the port is flipped, so you get a cable you can't even use. But that's
nice.
Yeah, it's like $14, and I've used it 1,000 times.
Yeah, that's
Nice.
great. That's fantastic, because I know it's not always possible to have that kind of access. I know it's not always possible for things to be a certain way like that. So yeah, that's definitely a nice little cord to have.
Yeah, and hey, with that, I promised the boss some time, so that's why I snuck in early. So I got to get going. Good seeing
Happy wife,
everybody.
happy life, brother. We
Yep.
all
Jeff, we're twinsies.
Yeah, yeah,
Supporting the
Fourzze is
man,
with y'all
the
tonight.
myth, the legend.
yeah. Hashtag support saber support Saturday. I was putting that for a while. Every Saturday I try to, like I went and got some Syndicate fonts. I got this. I got gin and tonic shirt. I try
There
to
you
look
go.
at stuff Saturday and just buy something for the hobby and support the little guys.
I
Right
got
on.
I got hats coming out, Jeff. I'll send you pictures.
Cool. Yeah. Let me know the link. I don't take no free cred. I buy it. I want to support everybody.
That's awesome, dude. Well, Jeff, thanks for hanging out with us tonight, brother.
Yeah.
Yep,
Thanks.
we appreciate it, man.
Yeah. I'll see you guys next time.
All right, man. Take it easy. And with
Oh.
that, we will welcome my boy Jedi Knight Jeff and Max to the stream.
What's
Sorry
up,
for
fellas?
being late.
Doing good.
That's all
Hey,
good,
man. When you got kid stuff, it happens, brother.
Right.
Max, it's been a couple of weeks, brother. How you been?
Yeah, I apologize. I missed out on the last stream entirely. I do have good news though. I am fully vaccinated now. Got both shots. Second shot sucked. For that day after I got the second shot, ugh. It was very mild. Like you feel like you want to like puke and like you got like a headache at the same time, but like you can't. But then the day afterwards, you feel fine. You're just like, well, that was weird. Like the worst to me was like just the soreness in my arm. That's like the worst you're gonna get. But other than that, nah, nothing too serious.
No.
But
Well, there you go.
hey, I can finally go outside in certain places without a mask. Although that might change because my college campus just actually sent out a thing. But they're different. They're private, so that's their rules and stuff. But yeah, I got my second COVID shot, so.
There you go, brother. Jeff, what's been going on in your neck of the woods up north?
Well, we finally got our condo back into shape. We got a new tenant in there now finally, so we can breathe a deep sigh of relief on that front. Yeah, I mean, I spent 17 hours last Friday painting, which is why I had to cancel the halftime show last week. I went up at 8:30 in the morning, and I got home at 2:30 in the morning.
Wow, dude.
Yeah. So a little rough, but we got through it, and life moves on now. So
Yes, sir.
hopefully we can get back to
Fantastic.
some sense of normalcy. So
Exactly.
I have to tell you a story from this morning.
One sec. Let me give, because Preston's got 5 more minutes, and I know he's got a few more things to talk about.
Oh yes. Well-
so Preston, I've got 14 picks here. I'm assuming that this is a special build you're doing.
Well, that was that was this build. It was pics of the build.
Okay. You want me to bring any of them up?
Yeah, you can bring them all up if you want to.
Cool.
They're pics that I wanted to put out and show that I can actually do a little bit of work, I guess.
All right. Let me see if I can get you. So here's the first one. And let me get you. Can I get you solo dolo here? Okay. Nope. Darn. Okay, I can't do it. So I can get you. So I got you in the upper right hand corner, but talk to us about these picks here and what you're doing.
I was just this is just a pic of the, as far as I know, that right there is a pic of the whole finished chassis.
So what I'm digging about this is that you've got a computer power supply kill switch. That is freaking boss. I've never seen that. That is cool.
I love it.
I actually Another shout out to Russell. That's so this was this saber right here was the first one I ever got from him. And he uses that a lot. And so I asked him about them and bought a whole bunch myself. And I use them when I can. They're a little bit bigger than the normal kill switch, but I like rockers better. They're
I dig that. That's really stylish, and
Oh,
it
yeah.
goes with the chassis very well. Chris, are you seeing this dude? Because we should try this in a saber.
Taking
Number
notes.
2, what you got here?
Could be before I soldered pins, could have been after I soldered. It looks like after I soldered the pins.
Okay. Let's see a little close up here.
Yep, that's what it was. Just after I
Alright.
soldered the pins down. And then I think
Okay.
I took a before pic of those just to show that I soldered the pins down.
Let's see.
I put wire mesh over the wires, but that's what it looks like underneath the mesh, which the mesh will come in. It's in another picture. It's just wire management down through there, just trying to show clean wires and whatnot. Yeah, that was just a pick I had when I had the board up. I was wiring a few things up was all. I went through this that's just another wiring up pick when I was wiring other things up. I read through the post and everybody's always like, take pictures for your portfolio, you know, and I see people, you know, doing installs and I see all kinds of stuff. And one of the things that spoke out to me about things that I was seeing was people were like, you know, before you do anything, and even my friends like Russell, like Cam, like another buddy of mine, they reach out and they, you know, they say, well, before you would do anything, you want to build a portfolio. So that's basically what the pictures are. It's just me building up different. What was the finger?
He'll be right back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's got to step away for a minute. So,
Oh, good. So
Oh,
yeah,
my
that's
iPhone music playing.
that's basically what the pictures were. It's just showcasing the work that I did, and just kind of building the portfolio up. Yeah, eventually, I would like to do ready to ship sabers. I would like to just, like I said earlier, just kind of buy empties, install them, and then sell them.
well,
And not for no crazy price, just to.
I gotta say, you did a stellar job weathering, battle scarring, and installing your Sun Saber. So, I mean,
Thank you.
You're headed in the right direction. I mean, if that's your end goal is to sell installed sabers with customizable battle damage, scarring, weathering, you're headed in the right direction, my friend.
Thank you. I don't always want to do the battle scarring. Sometimes I'll just do the weathering. I actually have this big long beauty here that I'll be doing some work to and then eventually installing. It's just an MHS saber that
So
I've
you
had
just-
hanging around.
Are you just going to weather that one and then do an install on it?
I'm actually gonna I'm gonna cut it out, or I may see if my buddy Russell cut it out. If he's down for the work one day. It's on down the road, but I want to weather it. I don't think I want to battle scar it. I think I just want to weather that one.
Yeah.
And maybe experiment with maybe a rusty type of look. I don't know. It's always just weathering is so much fun. You can just do whatever, and there's no real right or wrong way. You just kind of do it, and if you don't like it, you just do it again.
Well, and exactly, and experimentation is key, right?
Right.
I mean, you probably learned that doing the weather or the battle scarring on your sun's hilt, that you just got to experiment and play with it, and if it kind of works out, it works out.
I wanted to go deep. I wanted to go rough on his because I knew that he would enjoy that look, and so that's why I took this whole section out right here of the window, and it's just the deep gash, and it is like if I did more, maybe next time I would do light gashes, small hits, or something. I don't. But yeah, that's the beauty of it. It's always just fun to like let your mind go. I look at it like an artist. I see a blank canvas and I'm like, how can I make this look cool?
Right. Well, and I mean, that's the thing is you could take, half a dozen of the same hilts and weather them and battle scar them, and no two would be the same.
Yeah.
Right. You're getting a unique custom piece that only you have.
Yep. Yeah, weathering is definitely I could probably try to replicate it a little bit, but to a certain degree it can be replicated, but it's never gonna look entirely the same as the next one. Even if I did it the exact same way. So that's always the fun in it.
And it's not necessarily a bad thing. Sorry, guys. I just wanted to let Aaron do his thing, and I'm going to step in for him and keep this thing rolling along. So,
all good.
Yeah. So, I mean, and that's kind of nice though, is if you have, you order a saber from you and you ask for a certain type of battle damage or a certain type of weathering, that's the kind of the nice thing is that yours, because you're doing it all by hand, it's not CNC'd, it's not done on a machine, that you're getting a unique piece of art essentially. And that's what a lot of this stuff is, and that's what a lot of the guys in the community are looking for is something that only they have, right? There's a million Canon replica hilts, but that personalized, I'm the only one that has this is kind of a cool feeling.
Yes, it is. I know I'm not the only one, but I'm one of the very few people in the community that have a Bluetooth audio saber. So I know that it'll become more popular, and I know more people will get into it. But for a while, I kind of get to enjoy the feeling that, not very many people have a saber that has Bluetooth audio capabilities.
Right.
I have this saber, even though it was done in a run. This one is the unique one out of the run. This one is different from the other ones.
Right.
So I understand that allure, that draw into to having something that's custom and one of a kind in yours. Etchers and people that do that kind of stuff. I mean, that's kind of where that comes in is up until here recently, I don't think there were many reusable etch designs out there. All the etchers would just, I guess, create them from their customers' theme. Like, okay, they want this theme, I'll make this etch, and then that's it. So I like that.
Now, when you do, if you get into the point where, sorry, Fourzze, I kind of stepped in for you because Aaron dropped out accidentally and you were busy. So, no, it's all good. It's all good. So when you're getting into selling installed sabers like that, would you offer a saber with Bluetooth as an option?
If I could ever wire it and get it to work, I mean, I don't see why not. I'm not sure it would be in some super high demand anyways, but I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to the idea. It's probably a while off. Probably sometime into the first of next year before I'll start doing things like that and selling RTS sabers and stuff because of wanting to build things up and kind of prove that I'm not gonna do crap work. I'm not gonna install something that somebody wouldn't want or some quality that they wouldn't want, I should say. But yeah, when I do, it's not out of the park or out of the question, I guess I'd say.
Yeah, so it is in the realm of possibilities.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm curious, Preston, with that Bluetooth audio that you've got going, what's the latency or delay with that? Is it pretty low?
I need one of those so bad.
None.
None? Oh
None.
man.
It just depends. Now it will. Some days it's definitely not. It's some days it's affected by signal in the house and what other people have got going on. There's holes, and some days I have to use the antenna. Some days I don't, and when I either do or don't, I mean, I'm not gonna say that there's not any latency. I'm not gonna say that there's not any lag, but there's nothing that I notice. When I swing, it swings. When I clash, it clashes. I mean, there might be like 25 hundredths or 25 thousandths of a second. It might be just this real small, minute latency. Nothing that you would outwardly notice. No.
Yeah, very minuscule. Okay.
When, like I said, you'll notice like I've got holes in my hilt. And if I need the antenna, I'll notice because instead of like lagging, it'll start like skipping, like the audio just cuts in and out. It doesn't lag back or anything; it just cuts in and out. Then I connect an antenna and it's all good.
Okay.
So, but yeah, it's definitely not bad. I've done a few demos with it. With it, I've done a lot of demos with the Saber itself. Just some of them were with the speaker, and some of them were just with the Saber speaker right here in front of me.
Nice.
It's definitely one of my favorites, though. Although I remember Russell taking like a whole month on it because it was really tough to get working. He did a lot of R&D for me. He made that work really, really, really well. But yeah, maybe one day, because I do like it, and I think that would be really neat. Just to have that in more of a standard, I guess.
Yeah.
Like something that could be offered from people that do higher end installs and build higher end sabers. As to start being something that's a little bit more common in the industry, even if not for just messing around at your house or party, whatever, but for cosplay. Think about it. They make Bluetooth speakers, that you can carry like right on your belt that sound real good. Like think about if you could connect that to your saber and then you walk up to somebody and you're all cosplayed out and you got this really nice loud speaker right beside you. So I don't know. I think it'd be really neat to see one day.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I
definitely would.
I've been to a couple Comic-Cons, and now Brandon's been to a Comic-Con. They could be kind of loud. So having like some sort of better speaker you can connect to is incredible.
Yeah, there's definitely a pull towards bigger speakers.
Yeah.
I'll say this. Actually, it's funny. Jordan over at Ebon Hawk Armory he popped in the chat a minute ago, and he, that's one thing I was kind of thinking about. I was like, we could kind of hear the sabers, but like, it's so loud, you kind of have to get in close. So I think maybe in the future that might be something that, of course, that's going to have to be like a special kind of rig. I don't think we would necessarily sell them that way. If we did, it would be very expensive, of course. And I say we, I mean whoever the vendor is, whoever decides to, whoever's the one selling sabers, selling a setup like that would be kind of expensive. But for the purposes of demoing something, like, it would definitely help show off a lot better. So I might, Jordan, if you're listening to this, I'll get with you on maybe talking about figuring out how to set something like that up. But they had great interaction at the con, and people were just loving it. So I could imagine a speaker just like really adding to that, and I want to get one of those built for myself. I'm really trying to work with some peeps to get that going, but I don't need it for a couple more months. So we'll but yeah, Wade Sabers, Russell over there, man, that what he built for you, Preston, is awesome, man. I'm jealous. I want one.
Yeah, he did an amazing job, man. He did just an absolute awesome job, and I know it had him frustrated, which is just shows even the more care that he put into doing it, man. Because I know it had him frustrated. It had to have, because I know it. It's not easy when you don't. It's not easy when you don't have a video or a manual or something that you can refer to and say, well, why isn't this working? Or what is this, and to just have to sit there and experiment till you get something right really sucks. And yeah, I couldn't be happier that he made it work. And it's the saddest thing ever, but just for an attestament to the quality of installs, I've dropped that saber 4 times and nothing works out of place. Nothing at all. Except the battery. I had to bend the flat negative battery terminal back out so it would hold the battery back in. That's it.
Yeah.
But I've dropped it 4 times, like not nicely either. And it doesn't have a mark on it, and it does not work as it should.
I can say on my sabers, man, with the removable battery, like the battery flap terminal thing is like always the first thing I freaking screw up. But it's like you said, it just bends a little bit, and then you just you bend it back, and then you're good.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's the only thing that happened. He said dropped his KY 4 times today alone. Poor guy.
This saber that I have, that is kind of my go-to. I actually designed the chassis that's in it, and I remember chassis that I've had before in this weren't that great, and whenever I actually went and designed my own and put it in here, I've dropped this numerous times. Just showing off for friends, I start spinning it and I drop it numerous times. Only thing that's happened is the SD card comes a little unseated. That's it. Push that right back in. It's fine.
Has anybody, and I know this like varies from board to board because the little spring clicky mechanism where the SD card goes in, like it can be different as far as the tension, on each saber. And that's just a manufacturing thing. It's not specific to, but what I was getting at is like, has anybody ever have one that was like super like tight? So like when you click it, it's like, pew, it just like, it like shoots out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, damn, my SD card, come back. Yeah.
I'm searching around on the ground trying to find it.
Well, because like they're so damn small, and I'm getting in there and I got these tweezers and I'm like, and I click it in and it goes, pew, and I'm like, damn. Like,
that's one thing that I do like about.
There you go, Max.
It's so small. It's like sometimes I accidentally get it stuck underneath the board itself, and I have to grab a paper clip and like fish it out. You
know what else I did? Something like yours, Max. Like on mine's kind of like that. And like one time, I put the SD card in and like rolled up the hill, and like nothing happened. And I'm like, so what happened was, I guess I'll just use this piece of paper, but like the SD card went under the place that it's supposed to go, and I thought it was in there, right? And it's kind of like trying to turn the TV on. It's not plugged in. I was like, what the hell's going on? It's like, It's actually not in where it's supposed to be. Yeah.
See, and my Electrum doesn't have a release. It just slides into place, and it's kind of a pressure fit. to the point where I have to use an Allen key to pop it up to get it out.
Nice.
So
luckily with this, the way this KR flagship that I have was done, geez, I think Nathan over at Wild Space Outpost did the install, but like, luckily I can get a one of those 90-degree USB things, but it's just enough room to fit that 90-degree in here, just barely. And I'm like, thank goodness, because this thing's like cram food to the max.
right.
Yeah.
That's definitely that was something that I had fun on this build. Was obviously this I've said it's my first install, so obviously I haven't done anything before it, but it was really fun installing a removable chassis my first time around, because in the chassis itself is the battery, the board, the kill switch, and the hilt PCB that connects to the switch, or that the 6-trace PCB that connects the chassis to the switch section and the speaker. So there's a bunch of stuff in that little area, and it was fun to do. I'm not saying that it was the tightest of tightest, because I mean it is an Ultra Saber and it does have a big speaker, so the chassis is big, but it was still pretty small for my first install. But I enjoyed it. I took my time with it. I didn't get frustrated. So
still put some hair on your chest, huh?
Right. I got my feet wet, as they say.
Yeah, man. Yo, Max, what the hell is that?
It's the Ultra Saber's crossguard. This thing's ginormous.
It's a freaking sledgehammer. My God.
It's ginormous. Like, look how big it is. Like, okay, it's not actually that big in my hand, but like back when I first got it, it was like way bigger.
Boy, that puts the Ultra in Ultra Sabers.
Dude,
yeah.
Thor has hammer envy with that thing.
Dude, that thing's insane, dude.
I mean, this thing isn't even like a skinny flex. This is more like a thick flex.
Man, so
yo, that's the new T-shirt design, the thick flex.
The thick flex. That'll be great.
Yeah, I don't like.
Yes.
That's a Saber Trio, and that's an Ultra Sabers. There is like such a difference. I mean,
my goodness,
it's hard to tell, but like,
man, there's a lot of Ultra in there.
Cole, this is your new art design. You need to make a Graflex looking barbell and get somebody lifting it, and right at the top, ARRRRR Trust Sabers. R Trust
Sabers. Thick flex.
Thick flex. Thick. It's on you, Cole.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a company I do not buy from anymore.
All right, well, yeah, we'll worry about that another time.
Yeah.
The thing that I like most about them, I actually don't like their hilts really, as far as like install and quality. For not quality but accuracy. But when these empties that are the low end empties that usually come in all those mystery boxes, I didn't actually buy this empty. This was a stunt saber for my son that I converted. But their empties aren't really expensive, and the room inside of them, I mean, it's so loud.
Yeah,
that's so loud, and I'm not.
I love that font. Yo, all right, real quick, I gotta say this. Like everyone has heard of the Apex font, and it's just this big Predator, and I'm a big Predator fan and all this stuff. Yo, Preston's Syndicate's Predator font, Hishkoten, I think is what it's called.
Something.
Did I say that correct?
Yes. Yep.
Hishkoten. That's Syndicate's Predator font. Y'all need to buy this font, dude. Like that's coming from I'm a fan. I wanted this on my collection alongside mine because I love Predator so much. And dude, it's amazing how, again, someone else's interpretation can still be just as badass. And like, I really fully endorse his Predator font, dude. It's sick, and it's on my Saber, and it's gonna stay there. I love that thing, man. It's so good.
I appreciate that, man. I really do. I got hit with that. It was a commission for Jeremy at Solo Sabers, and
Mhm.
he reached out and he was like, "Hey, I want this Predator font, man. If you think you can do it, but I do have the one at Repulse, so can you make it sound a little bit different?" And I'm like, "Okay, yeah, sure, I'll do what I can." And
Killed it, man.
so that's just, I mean, that was all the direction I really got. Of course, it's kind of really all I needed. So, Ian, what
All
up?
right, so Ian has made it.
What's up?
Yeah.
And I'm not suffering from jet lag this time. I'm good.
Hey.
There you go.
Oh my gosh! All
I
right, so
Use that
the boys are
Keanu
here.
Revan, by the way. That is awesome.
Yeah. Ebon, Jordan over at Ebon has this really sick font called what is it actually? What is it called?
Keanu Revan.
Keanu Revan. Dude, I actually got to sample that today at the con.
Ooh.
Bro, like another one. And another one.
Another one.
Yeah, seriously though.
Wait, that's not all.
But wait, there's more. In a world plagued by sound fonts. Anyway, I digress.
Oh, there was one thing. I don't know why it just stuck out to me. I guess it's because it's where I haven't scrolled past. Cole asked me a very, very long time ago, and I made a joke, but is there actual merch planned or coming? I do plan to do some T-shirts, maybe some hats, beanies, T-shirts, or long sleeve shirts, just depending on the cost of them and the interest in them. If there was enough interest, I might make some, or I may see what it costs and may make them per order. So it may take a little longer, but at least I'm not like sitting with a bunch of shirts that I can't sell. So I don't know, but yeah, I do, because I have looked into it, because I'd like to wear my own stuff if nothing else.
D's.
Be aware.
Yeah.
Ask for Speedos next.
Well, Ian, you missed it earlier. Cole keeps adding to the list here, and earlier today, I think it was crop tops or something.
He wants a crop top and a Speedo.
What Preston? What did you call it? What was the other piece you called it? Like a
Man,
The like
something?
halter top, like tanky thingy.
tank. So you said, yeah, but you had a weird name for it. But anyway, yeah, some kind of crop top something.
We need to make
So-
Cole a regular on our stream for real.
Oh, yeah.
because
I
Right.
mean,
We
he's
are.
Oh,
welcome
yeah.
anytime, man.
He brings the fire, boy. I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
He keeps people laughing for sure.
So Ian, since you're here, welcome. By the way, how are you?
I'm doing great. Tired, but I'm doing good.
So I know you and Fourzze are super, and you especially are super into the new Masters Universe stuff. How did you like the new show?
I'm liking it. I'm expecting it to only be 5 episodes long. I also did not expect to be able to do 2 Skeletor voices now.
Oh,
Did not expect that.
You can do Hamels? Wow.
I grew up with his Joker. And that's
Well-
literally what Skeletor is. It's just a serious Joker.
It totally is, and I don't know if I'm disappointed by that or if I'm, if it was just expected. Like, the fact that the original actor is still alive, he could have
Moss
done
Man.
it.
He's Moss Man.
I know.
But Ian was pretty shocked on some of the voice actors that were attached to that Masters of the Universe and what some of those actors have been attached to otherwise that he didn't know.
Which is funny because I'm usually really good with that kind of thing.
Right? Like Sarah Michelle Gellar being Tila, but she was also the 7th sister Inquisitor in Rebels.
Or 7th, right?
Yeah, the 7th sister.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As far
And
as social
I
media
figured-
Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Force.
I was just gonna say, it's nuts because Kevin Smith is literally on the social media chopping block at the moment.
Yeah.
I can see your disappointment, dude. It's crazy. Like he's really getting picked apart by multiple social media outlets.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it's not a reboot. It's a continuation of the original series. And they've already slated a second season. So I mean, he's kind of have to do that up and then down to bring the second season up again, right? So. And I mean, like Kevin Smith, almost everything that man touches turns to gold. So I don't care what people say. I enjoyed it. Even though it didn't go in the direction that you expect it would, I really, really enjoyed it.
I'll be honest, I didn't know what I was expecting when I turned that on. I really didn't.
I expected it to be a reboot. It wasn't. It was nice to see that it was a continuation of, and it was kind of nice to see. It was kind of nice to see that there was a physical difference between Prince Adam and He-Man, right?
I mean, I like it. It's a nice addition to the original story.
Yeah.
Though I gotta be honest, it's given someone that continuously watched the original He-Man, we went from He-Man, I will eventually take over Grayskull to the power of Grayskull is mine. I'm like, dude, that's not even your laugh. Don't do that.
No.
That hurt. That hurt to hear.
Some of it was disappointing, but I mean, at the end of the day, you're not happy with everything all the time, right? You can't say that you, no matter how much you love Star Wars Rebels, you can't say you enjoyed every episode. Because I know there's episodes in that I could, rewatching it, I could skip over.
Yeah.
And same with Clone Wars, right? So.
Well, that's all Star Wars with me, man. I'll say it. I mean, there's tons of stuff that I'm like, all right, fast forward, all right, cool, and let's get to the part where Master Skywalker, that's your radio. No, I'm just
so anyways, so that's my funny story that I need to tell. So the boys and I are watching Revenge of the Sith this morning, getting ready to do what we had to do today. And we get to the part where Anakin comes into the council room and the Padawan comes out and he says, Master Skywalker, what are we going to do? There's too many of them. And his lightsaber ignites and the screen changes. And my wife goes, does he kill all those kids? And I'm like, where have you been for the last 20 years whenever I've watched this movie? And she's like,
yeah,
honestly, I haven't been paying attention. And I'm like,
yeah,
are you serious right now?
Yeah. How are we still married? Like, what are you talking about?
20 years later, she's like, does he kill all those kids? And I'm like, yeah, he does.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Because I made the Youngling Slayer 9000 joke after he lit up his lightsaber. And she was just like, what?
Yeah.
You know what you should have said after that? You should have been like, yeah, lays waste to all of them. And do you know why? Because of Obi-Wan.
She so doesn't get that joke.
Man. Oh. You brought him here to kill me. Don't let him kill me. Let's not start that. I'll go down a damn rabbit hole, man.
Dude,
did you see somebody got arrested at Disneyland for fucking chasing a bunch of kids with a lightsaber?
Whoa.
He was beating the crap out of kids with a lightsaber.
No F-bombs.
Oh,
PG-13. Yeah, no. PG-13.
Yeah, no, but that's crazy, dude. What is he literally trying to embody evil?
I don't know. Like he was dressed as a Jedi and was beating kids with a lightsaber.
Did one of the kids say, Master Skywalker, there's too many? And he took it literally?
I don't. All I know is I was equally and just horrified all at once. It's like, I applaud your testicular fortitude, but you should have known better.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's some you got some what do they call that? You got Moxie, kid.
Let me jump in here real quick. First thing I want to do is give a couple of plugs where plugs are due. Preston, number one, dude, welcome to Repulse Collectibles, number one. Number two, welcome to the Suspects. Having you here is the bomb. Go ahead and put your banner up right there, because this has just been the best thing ever. Also, guys, if you haven't had the opportunity, please find this man over at Facebook and Instagram. Give him a sub, give him a like, share. Look, and I'm gonna say this because it is a plug. Share the posts to your story, because that's how more people are gonna find out about him. That's how he's gonna get subs. That's how he's gonna get likes. That's how he's gonna get follows. And look, I'm gonna be brutally honest. That's how this social media thing works. You get the likes, you get the follows, and you get noticed, and you get business. That's how it is. So, so
and
give
then
him
you'll
your
always
business.
be up to date on what's coming out new, what he's got, what's going on.
Number two order of business: if you have not had the chance and you are on Facebook, head to the Repulse Collectibles official Facebook group. We are growing every day. Come on in and have discussion. We're talking sabers, we're talking fonts, we're talking everything Repulse, we're talking everything not Repulse, we're talking Bad Batch, we're talking everything Star Wars. It's just a non-drama, fun group to be a part of. It's really cool. It's got a lot of really fun people in it. Even the Wolf Paw is a member, so that's a great.
Oh,
reason
dude, we
to
got
be a part.
everybody. Look, you like Star Wars, you like sci-fi, you like chopping it up with great people. Come on in.
Come on, and look, it's all there. Another thing, and I didn't expect this tonight, but I'm very happy about it. We were able to give Russell at Wade Sabers a little plug, because everything that Preston's been able to show us this evening has been phenomenal. Wade Sabers is definitely somebody that I can plug moving forward, and I would actually like to talk with him myself. And Jeff, Jedi Knight Jeff, I'm sure you wouldn't mind getting a sit down with him and Mike at some point. That would be cool for the Jedi Mind Tricks show.
Yep. And on that note, Mike and I actually sat down last Saturday night, and we officially recorded our first 2 episodes. We managed to sit down and get Rob Petcow committed to 30 minutes. We actually got about 45 out of him. So we got a decent amount out of him. Yeah.
He's a legend in the community.
He is. It was a really great discussion, really great questions. And then our second episode that we recorded that night was Andrew from Bendu Armory. We got a full hour out of Andrew and barely scratched the surface with that man.
A lot of editing to do, bro.
No, I've already reached out to him, and he's already committed to doing a part 2 with us, because there's so many things that we didn't get a chance to touch on with him.
Dude, that's amazing. Very good.
So it was awesome. And then Mike and I are getting really ambitious in who we're reaching out to.
I think that should be a surprise for everybody, to be honest.
Oh no, the list of people that I've reached out to has grown, and I mean we all can talk about that either in the private chat or after the stream, but
in the after party.
In the after party. But the list of people that we've reached out to between Mike and I is pretty epic, and if we can even get one of those people to commit, it's going to be a huge victory for him and I.
No doubt, dude.
I can't wait, man.
That you guys were.
Oh yeah,
dude.
We're gonna have to do like some sick movie intros for that level of stuff,
Right?
Seriously, I still want to get a freaking intro put together for this stream. Just all of us doing something. I don't know. It'd be fun.
Come check out our show.
Mike is really good at putting trailers together for stuff. I don't know if
Get me off the freaking. I don't want. I don't want to scare people away.
Dude, if I
Mike-
could have got you solo doing that, I would have used it.
Mike, I don't know if you guys have had a chance to check it out on his channel. I think it's on my channel, and it's on our combined channel on YouTube that we've now started. We officially launched the Jedi Mind Tricks channel on YouTube.
Yes. I need to send to that like right now.
Yeah, it's actually what
And Mike did. I'm going to give him all the credit for the trailer. The easiest way that
trailers were sick.
The easiest way that I've found to get to that channel, if you guys are looking for it, is on my Instagram page. I have a link tree now, and the link to that YouTube channel is in there.
I'm gonna go get it right now.
So, folks,
Right
that's
meow.
going to wrap
Right
up the. Well, I mean, I know we're 36 minutes over, but that's going to wrap up. We're going to basically move into some fun talk and chill talk and everything now. So, so again, Preston, thank you for taking a lot of time here to basically let us all know who you are, what you do, your contribution to the community. It is very well received. You're already on your way to greatness, and all the stuff that you've been showing us here on the screen over these past few weeks have been nothing short of amazing. So, thank you, dude, for accepting our invite. And ain't nothing much else to say, man. Now we just kind of go into chill time and see what's going on with. I'll tell you what, gentlemen, we haven't talked like actual Star Wars in a number of weeks. What in the world is going on with Bad Batch right now? Because I'm 4 Fridays behind because I am seeing. I don't know if you guys follow him. I don't know if you follow him, but there's a gentleman who goes by the name of Objectively Star Wars. He's a
Brady.
cool cat on Instagram. Yes, Brady. I've been following him, and I've been watching his reviews on Bad Batch, and his opinion of the show has been steadily declining. Like, it is just going into pretty bad territory. Not Last Jedi bad, but it's like season 3 Clone Wars bad. Like when it was just a lot of filler. And if I'm 4 weeks behind on Bad Batch and that's all it's been,
I have watched 0 Bad Batch so far. So
Right.
and
So
Like
I don't know if everybody's watched the most recent episode because I'm not going to do any spoilers.
okay.
But I feel like with you being 4 episodes behind, there was a couple of episodes where there was a little bit of filler, but they took the story in a different direction, tied it into other things. It was kind of a cool take on the show. Didn't really fit with that show, but it was nice to see. I will say that the most recent episode is part 1 of 2 of the season finale. And Max, you look like you've seen it.
I have not seen it. I'm just aware that
Okay.
it's a 2-parter.
Yeah, and let me tell you, edge of my seat the whole show.
wow.
Even talking with Jim from Fulcrum and the Force, he hasn't been a super huge fan of the series up to this point. And him and I both agree that this last episode was it took 14 episodes to get there, but it was amazing.
May I share
That's
an
cool.
opinion with you guys, please? Like,
Yes.
No.
You don't need to ask. It's your show.
Yeah, I know, right?
This is coming from an era, Jeff. Brandon, myself, Preston. Ian, how old are you?
How old do you think I am?
Oh my! Oh no!
I don't know, Skeletor. How old are you?
No, I'm actually 29.
And
Oh, okay.
you know all about He-Man. Because He-Man was like taken off TV before 1990. I'm just kind of wondering how you're such a big Masters of the Universe fan.
Because it's awesome. Duh.
Yeah.
Like I said, I had a thing for cartoons growing up.
That's a fact.
And honestly, after there'd be another channel on satellite, because my parents had satellite growing up, and there was Boomerang, and occasionally they'd play rerun episodes of He-Man. And as soon as I heard that
Between
laugh,
all the Scooby-Doo, right?
I didn't like Scooby-Doo.
That's the joke, because we had Boomerang,
Yeah.
and like every time I flipped through it, it was
It'd be
always Scooby-Doo. Every
Yeah.
time.
See, Ian, we can't be friends anymore. I'm a Scooby-Doo fan too.
I'm not.
Oh, zoinks.
I'm not dead serious. Like, I don't hate
He said zoinks.
Hold on, let Ian finish. Let him finish.
anything else on. I'll watch that instead.
So anyway, coming from the era of original trilogy and even prequels, I feel as if Star Wars has shifted into this habit of an okay storyline most of the way through, and then they have this enormous guest star thing at the very end. And the two biggest culprits for that, and I can't say Mandalorian is a culprit, because Mandalorian was incredible start to finish. I loved Mandalorian. Even if Hamill had not shown up at the end, I still would have loved it. It wouldn't have mattered who came through and saved them. It wouldn't have mattered to me. It wouldn't have mattered if Mando had saved all of them himself, and then it was just him and Baby Yoda. That would have been fine. I'd have been cool with that. But Rogue One is the biggest culprit of being boring as freak all the way through, and then having 27 seconds at the end be the entire reason you spent $12 at AMC. Bad Batch, I feel personally, is making that mistake. You know,
I 100% agree.
And that's not a spoiler. That's just my opinion. I'm not telling you what's happening. I'm just saying I feel as if that's the type of storytelling that it is going to. And while I understand that all stories need to build up to a great big dramatic climax, it doesn't need to be boring junk just to get to a very slow, just to get to a very quick end with something major. You know what I mean? Like Bad Batch does not need to have 16 episodes of filler so that you can see Darth Vader at the end, or oh my God, Shaak Ti's still alive, or it's Mace Windu, or some sort of out of their butt Kathleen Kennedy surprise.
Right.
Wow. Okay then. Hey,
I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. I mean, Star Wars needs to stay interesting all the way through from start to finish.
And honestly, I think a bigger culprit of that, unfortunately, even though I like him as a director, was Solo. I mean, I enjoyed Solo. I enjoyed Solo, but I enjoyed Rogue One more than I enjoyed Solo because it tied in some of the backstory in Episode 4. And that's the only reason I enjoyed it more. Where Solo, it was just like where you get introduced to Han Solo, Chewbacca, and Lando Calrissian and the Millennium Falcon, and then right at the end, it's like, ooh, Darth Maul is still alive, right? Which we already knew.
But Solo stayed entertaining all the way through. There was action-packed scenes, there was adventure, there was excitement, there was some thrilling moments. You know, you had Daenerys Targaryen. She stayed hot through the whole thing. I mean, it was a great freaking flick. It was a fun, action-packed summer movie. But I think Rogue One was terrible. I'm sorry. No, I'm not sorry. Rogue One was terrible.
I think the hardest
fall
thing
asleep
for
every
me.
time I watch that movie.
Thank you, Preston.
I've never even seen it all the way through. I fall asleep every time, bro. It's like, hey, you want to take a nap? Yeah, sure. Put on Rogue One.
And I'll say this,
and
like,
I think for me the hardest thing to get behind Solo on is, I mean, we've gone through 6 other Star Wars movies where Harrison Ford is Han Solo, and I found it really hard to get behind. What is it, Aldrich Killian is his name or something?
Aldrich
I
Enright,
found
I
it,
believe, or something like that.
yeah, something like that. I found it really hard to get behind him as the character of Han Solo.
I agree with you, and I agree with you for one reason, because I went on YouTube and there was a nobody, and he did the perfect Harrison Ford, and he didn't even make the cut. Like, there was a protest for this man. Max, find me the video, please. You know what it is. Max
Anthony
is
and
gonna
Grubber.
find me the video. Thank you. Max is going to find the video. We'll show it. And this gentleman wasn't even considered, and there was a protest to Disney to get this man on as Han Solo, and they were like,
nah.
And that's where I say, like, shame on you, Ron Howard. I mean, Ron Howard has done some phenomenal things, like the original Willow, because they're trying to reboot
Willow.
that.
Well, I mean, it's all
dude,
about that now.
Dude,
Willow was a masterpiece.
I thought that was the for sure thing now.
Oh yeah. Oh no, they're
is.
doing it, but you can't top the original. There's no way
No.
that you're going to be able to top that.
Dude.
Mad Mardigan. Come on.
Val Kilmer at the peak of his career was a phenomenal.
God, Max, you found it.
Mm-hmm.
God bless you. All right, let me.
Max can find anything.
Dude, and I know I can't.
Baskin
share
Robbins.
sound. I don't think I can share sound on this thing.
But see, it's so crazy that they didn't hire the guy for Solo, and then turn around and now the guy that did that deep fake video that hit the internet now works for Lucasfilm.
Yeah.
Like so. I mean, I guess at least they caught their mistake, but you know, I mean, sometimes it's not bad. Okay, so I don't know to what extent, but I know that Harrison Ford was like a freaking nobody before Star Wars. And George Lucas was just like, hey, you want to be in a movie? Pretty much like he wasn't really.
So it was kind of that. It was actually Harrison Ford was a carpenter on set.
Yeah,
when,
that's what it did.
When George
There's a
Lucas
janitor.
was doing American Graffiti, which came out prior to Star Wars. And George Lucas said, hey, I need somebody to fill this role. Do you want to do it? And he did. And then George Lucas liked him so much, he hired him for the Star Wars films.
Yep.
And then Indiana Jones is what really made him.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
My childhood, right
Well, yeah,
there, Indiana
'cause-
Jones.
Right.
Because he's still doing Indiana Jones movies.
Still doing it, which is insane. I'm like, dude, I respect the hell out of you, but
something about
there's gotta be a
Hollywood that I really wish Hollywood would stop. You know,
Right.
I'm like, I'm a huge Sylvester Stallone fan and Arnold and all those guys, and I'm like, they keep doing movies, and I'm like, just
Why
stop.
in the
Like,
hell is
just
there an
stop.
Expendables 4 coming? Quit already.
Look,
Oh,
hey, don't
come
get me
on,
wrong.
those-
Look, hold on.
those movies
I'll
are
back
good
up a
for
little
a
bit,
laugh.
'cause I will still watch it.
And
I'll still watch it.
Oh yeah,
But I really
100%.
wish they would just give it up.
Wait, what's up, Ian?
So I watched the new Suicide Squad last night.
So
I
did
still haven't seen it.
You were telling me that.
And actually Sylvester Stallone does the voice of King Shark. Oh
Yeah.
my God, he's priceless. He is
Oh, he's great.
priceless as that role. Like, it is so funny. Like,
Might have to watch
best
it.
possible person.
It was it was a strange movie.
Yeah, but James Gunn did a phenomenal job compared to the last Suicide Squad movie.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I enjoyed the first one. What was the other one? The Birds of Prey or something like that?
That's
It was Harley
That's-
Quinn and the Birds of Prey.
Yeah,
it-
that one was weird.
That was a rename. The original name was like Birds of Prey, and this like long, ridiculous list for Harley Quinn. As a graphic designer, that insulted me. Just to see all
it
that.
was it was like the fabulous emancipation of Harley Quinn or something.
So much on screen.
Something like
Just call it Birds of Prey. Ugh.
Hey,
Right?
Max,
I hate when Hollywood does
Max,
that.
I won't let me download the video. Can you download it into like an MP4 and just email it to me really quick? Because I want to share this video.
Yeah, I can do that real fast.
This needs justice, and it won't. The download icon is gone, and for some reason, YouTube to MP3 converter is not being nice today.
Mostly use that for music, but for videos, I use this thing called Clip Converter. Might be a good idea to look at. But I just downloaded it, so I'm gonna send it to you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Suicide. It was Jeff. It was the Suicide Squad, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that was. It was a fun ride. Like, it was a good movie. Like, you could tell, you know, if it were done 20, 30 years ago, there'd be some B-movie level effects to it. And a lot of the directing in this movie was way off the wall. Like, Billie Eilish was probably helping direct this flick. But my gosh, dude.
But I mean, it was done by James Gunn, who has done the Guardians of the Galaxies movies, right? So,
and I can see some of that element in there, yes.
Oh yeah.
But it was really weird. But back to the Solo thing. So yeah, Solo, lots of fun, good writing, very adventurous, but it held my interest way the heck longer than Rogue One and The Last Jedi. It just did.
I'll agree with you on The Last Jedi. I'm gonna have to agree to disagree on Rogue One, unfortunately. Even okay, so my 6-year-olds have seen the complete Rogue One movie.
Complete.
Yep. Cannot get them to sit down and watch Solo.
Oh man.
They won't sit through it. So
I'm kind of with Jeff. I prefer Rogue One over Solo. I saw Solo in the every time.
You gotta do it. You gotta make it a flash. Boom.
Yeah, I gotta get back to doing reviews, but I don't know if I'll be able to with college coming up. Yeah, I'm kind of with Jeff in terms of like just. I only saw Rogue One in the theater once on Memorial Day back when it came out, and I'm kind of the other way around. I can sit through Rogue One just fine. I love those characters, and like K2SO is hilarious and all that stuff. I couldn't get through Solo. Han and Chewie were the only character I'm like, okay, but then like they try to do stuff with was it Woody Harrelson? Yeah, Woody Harrelson's character, and like I wasn't a big fan, and I didn't really get the girl because it's like, well, he's gonna end up with Leia anyway, so what's the point? And and then the one Millennium Falcon droid I thought was like, it was okay. Darth Maul was cool though. That's all I can really say. Just Darth Maul was cool.
The only thing that I will have to say that was really nice about that movie was, and actually talking with Rob Peck, how he brought this up. That movie actually made the Millennium Falcon a character in Star Wars because they put the droid, the brain pattern of the droid into the computer of the Millennium Falcon, and that kind of explains why in Empire Strikes Back, when 3PO is talking to the Falcon, he's like, your ship speaks a peculiar dialect, and it's because the Lando's droid companion is the nav computer for the Millennium Falcon. So it actually made the Millennium Falcon a character and not just a ship.
That's actually pretty cool.
You could make the argument it technically always was a character, even as back as the original trilogy, just because of how much screen time, especially in the Empire Strikes Back. That ship goes through hell and back again.
But it legitimately made it a character.
There we go. All right.
But no, right. I get you, man.
This is the guy who should have been in the Solo movie. You ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Han Solo. I'm Captain Millennium Falcon. Courier tells me you're looking for passage to the Alderaan system. A fast ship? You've never heard of the Millennium Falcon? It's the ship that made the Kessel run in less than 12 parsecs. I've outrun Imperial starships. Not the regular Balkan cruisers, mind you. I'm talking about the big Corellian ships now. She's fast enough for the old man. What's the cargo? Why, is it some kind of local trouble? Well, that's the real trick, isn't it? It's gonna cost you something extra. 10,000. All in advance. Yeah, but who's gonna fly it, kid? You? 17, huh? Alright, you guys have got yourselves a ship. Leave as soon as you're ready. Docking Bay 94. Looks like someone's taking an interest in some of your handiwork. Han Solo.
Wow.
That's
All day.
amazing.
He was right there, Disney, and you just nothing.
Right?
And the dude's in the industry. He was in a movie called Age of Adeline where he played a younger Harrison Ford, because Harrison Ford's also in that movie, and it was seamless. I thought it was great. And I'm like, why doesn't Disney hire this guy? And they're just like, you know, here's some people that kind of look like Harrison Ford. They don't really act like him. Let's consider these 3 people, and then narrow it down to just one, this Alden guy, and that's it. It's not like that there's some other dude out there who literally like spot on mannerisms and stuff. I don't get it.
I'm curious if there are actually people at Disney who are high up in the food chain, you know, in with all of the pictures and all the movies, and I wonder if some of the things they're paid to say include, I wonder if it would piss the fans off if we, and then complete the sentence, not use this guy. You know, I'm just really curious. Like, you know that person at your job. Like, if you've got like a real 8 to 5 or 9 to 5, you know that person at your job who's like the squealer, or they're the most annoying person there, and yet they've done everything there to get fired, and they never get fired, and they never get in trouble. That would be that person. That would be them. Be like, so you had one job, sir. Who were you going to choose to play Han Solo? Oh, well, here's this guy on YouTube. He's perfect, but I chose this other guy. What do you think of that? You get a raise. That's how I think some of this crap goes, because you had one job.
You had one job, Karen. Or
I think that's starting to change. I think this shift in Lucasfilm, I think since The Mandalorian, I feel like The Mandalorian was sort of a wake-up call for, you know, Disney to come, or I don't know if it was like Dave or John or someone at Lucasfilm just come up to the creative directors and just be like, wake up, this is what we're doing, this is not working, we need someone that's going to be interesting, something new, and thankfully The Mandalorian worked in their favor and was just awesome. So
yeah, but I mean, get me wrong, I love Jon Favreau, I love Dave Filoni for pulling that off, and giving us something that for most of the 2 seasons did not center around Jedi and lightsabers, and it worked. But I think a lot of that had to do with they had George Lucas on set with them as a consultant. And I think that's why he's kind of stepping back into the spotlight with Star Wars, is to try and get it back in the direction it needs to go, the direction that he wanted it to go.
This is funny, and I'm going to remind all of you here and everybody in the comments section of this very fact. Who here remembers 2002 through 2006? Who remembers? Who remembers when the prequels came out?
My childhood.
Okay. Do you remember the media response, the forum response? Because social media was, MySpace was around, but who remembers the actual response to those movies? What were they saying to George Lucas back then?
Oh, they hated it.
Everyone's saying about the sequels right now.
Every single one of them.
They hated it.
You cannot go anywhere.
The OG original Star Wars generation that was watching these brand new movies back then, and it was so different. and so outside of, you know, that original trilogy formula in a lot of ways. And look, I don't care what anybody says. Everybody knows this is like everybody knows this, but there's a big portion of the Star Wars fan base that just are just so it's got to be my way or the highway. And I'll be damned if you take away anything from the OT. And it's like I don't agree with that mindset. And look, I have my quarrels with like the sequel trilogy, and you know, nothing was ever perfect with Star Wars all across the board. But like, yeah, when the prequels first came out, it got hated on like you would not believe. If social media back then was what it is today,
Oh man.
it would have been
man.
roasted to the end of the earth. It would have been canceled. Like I mean, like the form, like the way they treated the prequels when they first came out was like modern day cancel culture. It was terrible. Like everyone was hating on it so bad.
How many times?
And it was not because of Obi-Wan.
No. How many times? And this is not even a joke. How many times did little Annie get beat up at school? How many times? Because I love
that actor.
Not just that.
Yes.
Not just that. I mean, when you look at Jake Lloyd, who played Anakin in the first movie, pretty much hasn't done anything since.
Well, you know what's up with him, right?
And you look at Hayden Christensen. He basically did one movie after Star Wars, and because he got so much hate for episodes 2 and 3, he basically became a hermit and dropped out of the community.
And what's nuts is that,
and it's crazy.
And you know what's really nuts is that, have you ever seen Jumper?
Yeah,
I love that movie.
Jumper's a
I
good
love that movie.
That was, I think, that was one of the only ones he did after Star Wars.
And it was brilliant. It was the movie had fantastic pacing. Hayden was free to be a little more himself. He was comfortable in the role, and it worked out really well. And there was actually, go ahead.
And there was actually supposed to be a sequel to Jumper with Hayden in it, but because he basically got so much hate for Star Wars, they didn't do it because he basically became a recluse.
Absolutely. And the amount, I mean, I don't think anybody beyond Jake Lloyd got as much hate as the guy who played Jar Jar. That
Ahmed Best, yep.
Ahmed Best,
he and Jake Lloyd caught it the worst.
Hey, for those that don't know, Jake Lloyd, you know, later on developed schizophrenia. So he literally has like he didn't resurface and do movies and stuff because he really came down with that medical condition, and it's really sad. It's really sad, but you know, that's really what happened to him. You know, but Hayden did kind of dig himself in a hole for a while. And I'm glad that things are different nowadays. Everyone loves the prequels now all of a sudden, which I think is kind of hilarious, but I'm glad. I would rather it be that.
And I mean,
they saw what we have now, and then they're like, and I mean, give it 10 years, and the people that are hating on the sequels now are going to be like, oh, they're the greatest sequel trilogy of all time. Well, okay, maybe a little extreme, but they're not gonna get the hate that they're getting now. So,
but
golly, I'm on the internet and I really don't want to say this out loud, but I'm gonna do it anyway. There was no the original trilogy had George Lucas, and he had a crew, and it was a good crew. George Lucas was in charge of the original, and then the prequels. George Lucas was still in charge of the prequels. You know, there was nobody looming over George Lucas during the prequels, telling him what he can do and what he can't do. Yeah, you like that? Right. What he can't do, right? But the direction of the sequel trilogy had people over it all, telling them what they can, what they can't do, and yes, ladies and gentlemen, what agenda they had to follow. So,
well, you know, George sold it to Disney, so that's just, I mean, look, they kept him on as a consultant, obviously, and a lot of other titles and positions and whatnot, but yeah, they had full control. And look, I'm going to say it. Anything that Kathleen Kennedy touches screws up. And that's why when Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, and with the help of George Lucas, went in on Mando, I wonder why it ended up so good. Just saying.
Sure thing. Absolutely.
That's just a fact. It's just a fact.
And what's nice about Filoni is that you got to see his character creation evolution. Because remember, he was there since Clone Wars Season 1. And how long ago was that? So you've seen what he's done. You've seen his mistakes. You've seen his growth. You've seen everything. So for him to come into Mando, that's crowning for him.
Well, and
Dave
I mean,
Filoni has earned his spot.
And well, and
100%.
Dave Filoni was handpicked by George Lucas.
Yeah, that's
right.
So a lot of people
And
online are
and that's
talking about Jon Favreau being the protege. No, Jon Favreau's amazing and great addition, but Filoni is the protege.
100%. And
Yeah.
I think if Disney had chosen Filoni, no offense to J.J. Abrams, but if they had chosen Filoni instead of Abrams for the sequel trilogy, we would have got a whole different sequels trilogy.
Well, Jeff, I mean, I agree. I do. Like, I agree with that angle. I think the counterpoint, not argument, but point is, JJ got his vision was interrupted by Kathleen Kennedy. So I do want to give some credit to JJ because he really did not get to execute the way he wanted. He didn't.
No, he didn't.
So
He didn't.
he probably,
And I-
if he had continued with the way they had it planned out from TFA, and it kept going, because Rey, and this was confirmed by Daisy Ridley on a podcast in person on the camera, she was supposed to be a Kenobi, and that's what it was leading up to. And then Finn was supposed to turn into a Jedi much earlier. And if JJ had finished the second two movies and done it that way with the script, the Duel of the Fates script by, what was it, Colin Trevorrow or something like that, dude, it would have been 10 times as epic easily. But JJ didn't get to
I'll
do what
agree
he
with
wanted.
you on that. I'll agree with you on that. And I mean, when you look at the grand scheme of things, I think that's why he took over a larger role on Rise of Skywalker, was to try and reverse some of the damage. Yeah. Reverse some of the damage that had been done. And I mean, you look at the sequels trilogy and everybody's hating on it. I'm an original trilogies kid, and I love TFA and I love Rise of Skywalker. Last Jedi, I could take it or leave it.
TLJ is garbage for me, man. That's how I feel.
I watch it just for continuity, but
there's like 2 or 3 moments I really liked, but overall as a movie, I was like, nah, dude, it's garbage. I really don't like Rian Johnson at all.
See, and I kind of feel that way about Attack of the Clones. I'm not. Last Jedi and Attack of the Clones are the 2 movies out of the 9 that I could just completely do without.
And the really funny thing about Rian Johnson, that goes back to the point I made earlier about Jumper. If you've ever seen the movie Looper, Rian Johnson directed that one, and it was phenomenal.
See, I've heard that. I've heard that like some of his movies are actually really good, but he just, I think okay, I'll give you that because I think he did Knives Out, and I heard that was amazing. So
he did, and that was amazing.
Hey,
I'm not gonna bash Rian Johnson as a director and his talent. I'm gonna say that I think he was not a good pick for Star Wars.
He had no freedom, though. That's the problem.
With Kathleen Kennedy around, nobody does.
They didn't have any freedom.
Yeah,
and that's a shame.
Well, and I mean that's the sorry, Max.
I kind of think it's the other way around of Rian Johnson. I think they gave him a little too much creative freedom, and the fact that he was like, the problem with Star Wars is the fact that he came in 8 movies. He's in the 8th movie. There are certain rules you need to follow with the continuity. Luke is the brother of Leia. There's all these different rules that laid out. And when you don't stick to those rules and you sort of change it up because, I want to surprise the audience, you sort of lose not only the connection to the story, but also like this sort of mystique that Star Wars always had. That like it takes me out of it because I'm just like this. Because the biggest thing for me, y'all will probably agree with me on this, is how they handled Luke. I'm
Dude,
not
yes,
saying it was
okay,
a bad
trigger moment, dude. Okay, look,
wasn't
the first scene. He tosses it like it's a piece of crap, and I'm like, okay, slap in the face. Number one. Number two is they made him this sniveling, weak ass hermit, and then he's like gets weak and almost kills his nephew. Like Luke would never do that. Like you don't know what you have no idea who this character is. Like nothing.
The only thing I will kind of. The only thing I'll disagree with is when he gets the saber and throws it.
Ugh.
The reason I thought that was good is because it sets up, okay, what's happened to this guy that he looked at something that was not only his father's, something he had and something he lost. And when he sees it, the first thing he thinks of is get rid of it. I'm like, okay, I want to know where this story is going. And they kind of weakened it from there. I don't think it was a good story that they told of why he, why he did what he did. The funny part on The Last Jedi that I find hilarious is when The Force Awakens came out, everybody said, "Oh, it's pretty much the same as A New Hope," right?
It kind of was.
It's kind of okay.
No, right.
It has a lot of plot points that give it along the lines.
Yeah.
And then they went into the Last Jedi and they said, "Okay, we want to do something totally different." And they still ended up doing the same movie as Empire Strikes Back. Jedi goes, finds a hermit who's sort of iffy on the Force. There's a scene with walkers. There's like. There's like it has a lot of Empire Strikes Back parts in it. The entire Empire Strikes Back, Han, Leia are running from the Empire. That entire movie, the rebels are running from the First Order. They tried to go, oh, we're going to do something different, and made the same.
They tried to parallel.
They didn't do it as good, and. The only thing I kind of was happy with is how Luke did his thing at the end of it. People hated it. I kind of liked it because it was different, right? It kind of showed a very powerful Jedi not having to get into a huge fight to basically mess with the minds of this apprentice, right? Basically, like I don't even have to be there to screw with you, type of thing.
Yeah, I agree with that to a point.
That was a very powerful Force moment. That's what I liked. It showed how powerful he was, but it also showed how much it drained him. There's a few plot points that they probably could have changed, especially after Carrie Fisher passed away. I think if they were going to kill her off, that movie would have been the spot to do it, and then kind of kill off Luke in the next one. I could understand them killing off the original trilogy characters, but like there were moments in that movie that were good. There were moments that the whole Canto Bite thing was just filler, and it showed. The only thing it showed is how the war itself is being fought by the rich. Like the rich are basically profiting off of the entire war either way, and that's the only thing it showed. But other than that, like it was just a fill. It served no purpose to the overall story. Like it was,
and there was 10 whole minutes of additional horse footage.
Yeah.
In extra. I mean, are you even kidding me?
So I mean,
they paid a lot of money for those props, man. Those costumes for the horses,
Max.
I do like the idea of there being more Jedi out there besides Luke and the Skywalker and all that sort of stuff. I like that's the kind of thing of, oh, there are other force sensitive people out there. You know, stories can continue, but that's where I like stuff like the animated series and like Rebels and everything like that. Great characters, stuck with a lot of the rules, and but still with fun, told stories and great, characters that you're rooting for, and you're sad when they die and all that sort of stuff. I had no feelings for any of those characters, really. And Finn got screwed over big time.
Max?
So I actually had a really good conversation with my friend about this one time while we were driving over to his place. And he's not a big Star Wars fan. He's more of a casual fan. And I was talking to him about Luke in The Last Jedi. We tend to have conversations about nerdy stuff and stuff like that. And I remember asking him, you're not really a big fan of Star Wars, but what was your opinion on Luke? And he thought it was okay. He told me that, he doesn't really know Luke. He doesn't resonate on the same level as me, someone who's been watching this since I was a kid and the originals and all that stuff. So he doesn't have that context. And he did tell me this. He was like, well, the way I see it is, because I'm looking through some of the comments, and I do, and Cole and Wade, I 100% respect your opinions. The way I see it, and this is an argument I brought up with him, I was like, in terms of his redemption arc, it was a weak, way of writing his story. I thought it was a weak redemption arc. And he was like, well, I guess the other way. He was like, well, at least it wasn't as bad as Thor's and Endgame. And I'm like, okay, he's got a point there. But I brought this argument up with him, and I'm surprised in a lot of videos, nobody brings this up as an argument for Luke's character. So a lot of people make the argument that, they humanized Luke and they made him more compelling because he hit his lowest point in life, and that he's now this just grumpy old guy, and then he somehow managed to get back up top. My main issue was the fact that it was they went from point A to point B real fast. There was no transition period for him where he's I don't care about anyone in the galaxy anymore. Okay, here I am, Kylo, let's do it. There was it was too stark. It was too sudden. And I remember thinking to myself, with this whole argument of they humanized him and stuff like that. Did Obi-Wan or Yoda ever stop giving a shit about the galaxy when they lost more than what Luke lost? They lost Anakin. They lost the Jedi Order. They lost pretty much every single Jedi. They lost their clones. They lost everything. But here's the difference. The difference is that Obi-Wan and Yoda never gave up. They had a backup plan. They had a contingency plan. They're like, okay, things are not looking good right now. And now, before I say anything, this Obi-Wan series may totally change that. They might make Obi-Wan the most meanest person on the planet, make him all miserable. And that might change. And they might change my perspective. They totally change my perspective. And they could do what we wanted from Luke in The Last Jedi. They could do this whole redemption arc, because I think there's more potential for Obi-Wan because in the fact that there's more stakes involved with Obi-Wan. To me, with Luke, the only thing that really motivated him was that, I kind of let Han and Leia's kid turned to the dark side, and he kind of killed all my students. But guess that means I'm a jerk now, and I'm going to go into the galaxy. But Obi-Wan had and like I said before, Obi-Wan and Yoda, they had way more stakes on their hands. They lost Anakin, they lost Padme, they lost the whole Jedi Order, they lost the clones, they lost all of that. And yet, even through all that, they're despite the fact that we are in this age where this totalitarian government is rising and is going to take over the entire galaxy, and there's nothing we can do, we need to give out and just hope that this boy and this girl are our last saving grace. They're going to get up to a point where they're going to take down their dad, and they're going to take down the Emperor, and that we're going to try to find a way to bring the galaxy back to peace. Because
I imagine old Obi-Wan being to Luke, being like, "You think you had it hard back in my day?"
Yeah, his Force Ghost comes home in Act 2. What the heck are you doing, Luke? I'm sad because Ben turned to the dark side. Do you know how much was on my stakes? I lost your dad. I lost his wife. I lost my clones. I lost everything. And you're just crying about your nephew.
Yeah.
Honestly,
so
I really think Disney was trying to make a point to ignore the out of universe non-canon writers. I really think they were trying to make that point because there was one character,
just a huge mistake.
One, and nobody can disagree with me on this. There was one character who walked away from it all and he pulled his big boy pants up, and he came back into it, and he got in the fight, and he helped. Jolie Bindo. They could have done with Luke what they did with Jolie Bindo.
Who's that?
And it would have been fine. Jolie
That's
Bindo.
the Old Republic, yeah.
Old Republic.
Is Old Republic. Jolie Bindo is Old Republic 1, and he was originally written to be what Mace Windu would have been had he survived. Because Jolie Bindo, he went into exile way off on this forest planet, and you got to go you got to go to this. You haphazardly, you're going to this planet, and there he is, and you find him, and you tell him what's up, and he tells you what's up, and then he ends up befriending you anyway. And he's like, screw it, let's do it. Or Ram Koda. When Ram Koda, you find him freaking drunk in a bar, and he's like, all
After
right,
he lost his eyesight.
Yeah,
Yes.
he's like, I'll show you the dark side. Yeah.
I know the dark side looks like boy. Yeah, I mean, there's redemption there.
Well, and I mean to tag on to Max's thing for somebody who has read, I mean, it's now called Legends, but the story arc where Luke is hunted by Mara Jade and turns Mara Jade and marries Mara Jade and opens a whole new Jedi temple and a whole new generation of Jedis. Knowing that backstory and then watching Luke in the sequels trilogy, it was.
Slap
I mean,
in the
it's
face, man.
Oh yeah, 100% it was.
Oh, I hated
Well,
it.
not only that, what you had is you had in that storyline sort of thing. Then with those ones, you had a couple of twins, and then a younger brother, and one of them goes to the dark side, and the twins are there for that. They're the ones. It's not Luke. He's still the mentor, but and you've got there's so many legends that are so well written.
Jason and Jaina.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jason and Jaina,
Fantastic.
Jason and Jaina Solo.
Yep.
Those are such fantastic stories, and then you've got stuff like then you've got characters like Ashrat Het and was it Darth Crate?
Yeah.
Right. Those are fantastic stories. They're well written, and all of a sudden they're just like washing these ones aside. And I get that Disney wants to put their staple on their characters, and they want to bring in these new characters, and a lot of the characters from their new movies were kind of placeholders for other ones, right? I mean, the stormtrooper turned Jedi that Finn would have been.
Oh man, I so wish they would have done that.
That is basically Kyle Katarn right there. The pilot who's really good. Like you've got a bunch of different characters in every single one of them that are like mixed into it. But the thing is, and I know that they're trying to put their staple on it, but when there's so much literature out there that are well written, well-rounded stories, to me that it was a slap in the face to kind of ignore them.
So this is to that point. I think it's really interesting because you think about there really have been a lot of things in Legends that have been canonized, just not brought to the screen proper, like Darth Bane or even Revan. Revan is technically canon. There's canon references to him now. And, to your point, the Darth Bane trilogy, it's like, even if they don't follow that to a T, if they get pretty close, I think fans can accept some wiggle room, but they really need to stay true to that character,
Well, just look at the Lord of the Rings. It's well done, did they follow the books perfectly?
No, and that's fine. I'm okay with that. But give me Darth Bane.
They followed it well enough to appease fans of the books and bring in the new people that were, only watched the movies, right? So you've got, and the same with like some other books that you've got out there. The ones that don't, and to me, you can tell, the ones that don't follow, and I'll even just say this for Twilight. Twilight followed a lot of the stuff from the books, and they pleased a lot of the fans of the books, and brought in people that didn't read the books, and that's why it did so well. Like as much as
see, I think at the end of the day, the biggest mistake that Disney made with the sequels is they're calling it the Skywalker trilogy or the Skywalker saga. But when you see Rise of Skywalker, and yes, Luke was in it, and Rey calls herself a Skywalker at the end, but when you find out that Palpatine was behind Kylo Ren and Snoke, and he's the only constant through all 9 movies. And it's actually the Palpatine saga. It's not the Skywalker saga, and Disney turned it into that.
And it's another that's another product of them not having a cohesive vision for all 3 movies and doing a bunch of reshoots and stitching things together. That's what we're left with, is this pile of jumbled up, just stuff. That's
when
like
it was announced that they're doing the sequels, like these 7, 8, and 9, before they even started episode 7, they should have had a cohesive story through all 3. And guess what? It's Star Wars. It doesn't matter if certain things in the first movie didn't work and they go, oh, we got to change stuff. No, have a constant story. It's Star Wars. It'll sell.
They had a script.
People will go.
They had a script and they got rid of it because reasons.
People will go to see Star Wars.
George Lucas handed them the sequel trilogy on a silver platter.
Yeah.
And they refused to use it.
And then they still did reshoots.
Don't get me wrong. I like... There are characters that I like and characters I didn't. I liked Rey, actually. I did. I thought she was a well started off character. There is a toxic masculinity out there that they were showing their colors clearly with her character. The writing for her slipped in the next 2 movies to me, so that hurt her character. I think
I had such high hopes for her, Jeremy, and you're right, 100%.
Yeah,
they took her from possibly the strongest character in the sequels trilogy to somebody you could have done without in the other 2 movies.
Yeah. Well, that's how I felt that they treated Finn. Episode 7, he had something to do. He was a character. He was a strong character. Episode 8, they gave him a side story that didn't need to happen. It honestly, you could have had the entire movie. I would have preferred having a duality between him and Poe, because I think him and Poe have a great dynamic. And I think that if it wasn't for them sending him off to do this thing, him and Poe could have had a great dynamic about where to go with this rebellion that they don't know where they're going. And, that whole mutiny thing that they were pulling off. I think it would have been a great dynamic of Poe wanting to do this sort of thing and Finn kind of talking him out to do a different thing, but staying together type of thing.
And I mean, no offense to Kelly Marie Tran as an actress, but bringing in Rose Tycho in 8, and making her a major part of the story with Finn, was kind of a pointless character. That dynamic, but that dynamic between Rose and Finn could have happened between Poe and Finn.
Exactly.
Right.
I think that could have been a Poe and Finn story.
I really love Oscar Isaac, man. I really like that guy. X-Men Apocalypse wasn't his fault, but I still love that dude, and everything I've seen him in, I think he's great.
I'm looking forward to him in Moon Knight.
Yes,
right?
I know.
That's going to be killer.
Dude, I'm so excited for that. There's a lot of cool stuff that's coming out that I'm like really pumped about.
Now, question: did anyone hear the rumor? I saw something today about Tom Hiddleston playing a very young Palpatine.
Yeah, I heard that.
I don't think that's substantiated yet.
I just saw an article about it.
I think it'd be cool, but I don't know if that's substantiated.
I saw a clickbait article from We Got This Covered, but nothing that from a trusted source.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, if that is the case, that could be them moving forward with the Acolyte series.
I think. Okay, so real quick, let's go around the table here, and I'll start.
Hold on, real quick. Preston,
all right.
Preston gave me something here to show for Jeremy.
I forgot about that.
I didn't. I've been waiting for an opportunity to get it in here. Boom.
Oh, sick.
Dude.
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
That's amazing.
That is really cool. Oh, yeah.
Preston, is that one of your wood finishes?
Yeah, that was something I did for a buddy of mine who really, really likes Deadpool.
Man, bravo.
And Preston, welcome to
Thank
you. Congratulations on your joining Repulse.
Thank you.
Hells yeah.
Oh, and it doesn't have a battery yet, but I got to show y'all something.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so while he's doing that, let's do the. Oh no, he's back.
That was
fast.
All right, everyone, stop talking about Aaron.
Arrive.
Oh,
yeah. I did have a question for the group, but yeah, I love that saber, man.
Nice.
With the accurate red button too.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That is mint.
I'm so glad it got to you. I'm so glad you're going to enjoy it.
This is what I wanted to go around the table with. So with this Tom Hiddleston possible, rumor article that he might be young Palpatine. Okay. So my question to everybody is, and I'll go first, is what if it were to happen, what do we feel about that? I personally, when I think about Tom Hiddleston, I love him. I think he's a great actor. I think when I think about that, I would be interested to see it, but I'm not convinced one way or the other if he would be the right fit. So that's kind of my initial gut reaction. And again, it's totally unsubstantiated thus far. But what's everybody else's thoughts about that? Let's start with Jeff.
I think it would be a difficult sell for Tom Hiddleston as a young Palpatine. The only thing that would excite me about seeing officially somebody playing young Palpatine is that means we're going to get Darth Plagueis live action.
Yes, I didn't even consider that.
Wow.
Tom Hiddleston's too old too, man. He's too old as an actor in real life.
But that's what that means because it was probably 10 or 15 years, I think, before Episode 1 that Palpatine kills Plagueis.
No, it's not. It's not. I just read the Plagueis audiobook. I just finished it a few weeks ago. And
or was it like 50 years?
No, dude, he kills Plagueis like literally during the events of episode 1 in the background. So you remember the part?
Right, because Plagueis comes to look for Anakin in Padme's chamber.
Yeah, and he
Spoiler
literally
alert.
just missed him. He had just missed him, and
Right.
then like the part where Sidious is on the balcony with Darth Maul and he's like, "At last we will reveal ourselves to the Jedi." Blah blah blah. Like Plagueis was still alive in that moment, and it wasn't until later in the sequence of part of the first movie where they're in Palpatine's apartment and Plagueis is over there and he gets Plagueis like drunk, and then just read it. It's great.
Well, and there's rumors too that when you see those big vases in Palpatine's office in Revenge of the Sith, that Plagueis's ashes are in those.
Oh, maybe. But
that's what they're saying.
The book is
Somebody
canon too. So the book is canon.
But that's my opinion. Is we would get Plagueis in live action.
Man,
I don't care who plays young Palpatine. Seeing Plagueis in live action would be way cooler than young Palpatine.
I would love to see Plagueis. I mean, you're right. That's another one of those characters from that we haven't had in live action yet that would just be killer, man.
Yeah.
Okay, so Max, if Tom Hiddleston were to be a young Palpatine, what do you feel about that?
I don't know. I don't really see him as young Palpatine because I'm gotten so used to him as Loki. So it's like, maybe if they had done this back when he was still doing the first Thor, he definitely would have looked a lot closer to young Palpatine.
Yeah.
But I feel like for young Palpatine, they should get someone new. But like, I don't know. That's tough because I can't really think of anyone that would it's someone British at least. Because the original actor Ian's British, so I don't know. I mean,
well, it's just it's not thinking about like who would they get. It's just that if Tom Hiddleston was it, But yeah. So what about you, Johannan?
I am kind of teetering on the fence with it. I feel like on one end, if they do it right, they could pull it off, and I could see it. But on the other end, they could mess it up, and the whole time I'm just going to be thinking of Loki.
Yeah. If he has that Nicolas Cage problem where he acts the same no matter what he does, you know what I mean?
I feel like for him to really nail it, he's definitely going to have to do his research and adopt the Palpatine mannerisms.
He just has to go. No, anyway. Hey, Ian, how about you, brother? What do you think?
I don't see it. I don't see it. I don't see. Yeah. Like Tom Hiddleston's a great actor. I don't see him being Palpatine.
Yeah. Jeremy?
Two people.
Oh, go ahead, Ian. Who's that?
Go ahead.
Have you ever seen Merlin? The series,
yeah.
The T-series Merlin.
Yeah.
Colin Morgan, the guy that played Merlin. I could see him doing it.
Okay, I could see that.
He's an extremely effective actor. And Matt Smith.
That's a cool thought.
He rumored young Palpatine for Rise of Skywalker. I could see that too. He's still pretty young. I could still see it.
Yeah.
Okay, Jeremy.
Yeah, I'm kind of on the I don't see it. He's so good as Loki, and with that series and that character, I don't think it would be a good fit. Yes. One other person I think would be I think pretty decent at it is Ben Whishaw. He's Q in the recent Bond movies.
Oh, okay.
Right. But I think, and he's done some really good characters, but I think he would be a good. I think he would be a strong one, like especially playing a character. For him to play it, he'd be playing more of the young one coming into it all. right? It wouldn't be more of an established Palpatine type of thing. And someone going forward the way they did. It would definitely be a more, I'm brand new to this, learning it, and slowly over time becoming more controlling, more scheming, that sort of thing, right?
Yeah. Fourzze, what about you?
I'm gonna be that guy, and I can see it, but he would have to tone it down because if we're talking young, then he would be a little more Loki-ish. I can actually see that he wouldn't, because honestly, Palpatine didn't make the big plays until after Plagueis was gone. Now, I actually had an idea for Plagueis, voice and everything, and I think Plagueis should be played by Mark Shepard, who was Crowley in Supernatural.
Oh,
because
yes.
That would be a great casting.
Because Crowley did make the big plays, and he was always one step ahead, and it's perfect, and that's the type of character who would be. It would honestly a young Palpatine plus Plagueis series or movie.
Well,
it would have to be a master and apprentice movie. Like just
well, that's what
everything.
the book is. That's what the book is, and it's so
He
good.
has that voice, that deep, like he's got that he can do that deep, commanding voice.
And here we are, boys.
But it's like it's very like it's dark and evil, but it's also can be kind.
Honestly, Tom's direction would have to be spot on, and he would have to he can't be Skeletored. All right, he can't just come in being the Joker. He's got they have to tell him from go. This is not Loki. You can't play him like Loki. This is you have to be mischievous and you have to be evil, but you can't be Loki. You can't be Loki. And you have to be willing to make mistakes. We need to see a Palpatine who makes mistakes and grows and learns. Then when the time is right, boom. He can't be all-powerful purple lightning because, purple lightning's the strongest Sith lightning, not red lightning. So he can't have purple lightning from the start.
I would love him to be the character that basically he starts out trying to be that strong Sith and everything, and it fails, and then all of a sudden you get that shifting where he switches from being the senator, and then he's got that other, like, it's like a dual personality where he's Senator Palpatine and then Darth Sidious, right? But basically, they're the same person, but make it so that like people in the other ones did. No one knew they were the same people. They are so different from each other.
And honestly,
and so well.
And
we got to give Preston a chance to answer too. So just
real quick. We need to see Palpatine pushed to make the kind of actions that he does. Like, you're not just born that way, right? I mean, there's crap you go through in life that and I'm assuming that in Star Wars ages, Palpatine's what, 50, 55-ish in episode 1?
Yeah.
So you imagine from a young boy, he is being pushed, brutalized, betrayed, everything, and he's having to learn the hard way all his life, and then, boom, he can flip the script.
Well, him being in politics could be a big pusher for that.
Preston?
What? Yep.
Oh.
That sorry. I was spacing out thinking about it. Because I kind of I'm kind of with you, Aaron. I can see it. I could definitely see it. But I would definitely want a lot of backstory. I would want to know how he got there. But yeah, I could see him being young Palpatine. But yeah, I mean, you guys pretty much touched on everything. Because I mean, that. If you're gonna do it, then if you're gonna do it, then do it right. Like I would. That's just it. I would want to know all that backstory, and I think it would be great to see. And I think he could pull it off as long as, like you said, they're gonna have to go in straight up with the mindset of do not be Loki, because I think he could. There's times when his acting through Loki, in all that he progresses, you could see that Tom Hiddleston has the ability to do it, as long as they had that mindset of just, you've got to be different but still evil like you are now. So yeah, I mean, I could see it.
Well
something
done,
funny,
boys.
Something funny I just kind of thought of, because they're sort of connecting Tom that played Loki as Palpatine. Me and the crazy world that's in my head, I just imagined like the directors talking to him and saying, all right, so Palpatine at this stage, he's very mischievous and stuff. He's got great plans, but right now he's got to keep it very low key.
Oh man,
that's the best thing ever. Oh geez, Jeff just left for that one.
Jeff said, "All right, I'm out."
The dad in me really appreciated that one.
But for real,
Wow.
I mean, I would definitely be down for a Palpatine that you see from the first episode, and he's hatching this genius plan, right? And he goes a full season, and he's just executing stuff, and it's this terrible buildup, and you think, right? You think that Plagueis is impressed, and that he's graduating into this full Sithhood, and then like, boom, season finale. It's totally flipped. Plagueis it's just another betrayal, and he's got to learn another hard lesson. I would watch that.
Okay.
I would watch that because
so
it shows.
This is. I gotta say this. I gotta say this. So this is where it's really hard for me. We start speculating about what the TV show should be, and I'm like, well, the material's already there, and this isn't a Legends book. It's a canon book. So everything we're talking about right now, if they follow their own canon, it's already been done. It's just they have to film it, right? So I already know, because I read the book, I already know the training Palpatine goes through, what his dealings are in politics, and how he lives double lives and triple lives in some instances, and his interaction with Plagueis and how Plagueis trains him and all these things. I mean, it definitely could have went more in depth, because there's like a 10-year period where it jumps time, and there's a 10-year time jump at one point, so they could always fill that in. But like, so this is where I'm like, okay, if they do it, they better not retcon that book, because it'll just piss me off, right? Because they've already canonized what happened. So if they do make it, they better follow that to a T and just add to it, and fill in that 10-year gap or something. Because if they go and change key aspects of that book for the show, or the potential show, and whoever plays Palpatine, I would be really upset, because it was such a fantastic book. And as of today, it's canon.
Mm-hmm.
I read it when it was new. It is fantastic. I loved it.
The audiobook was fantastic. You talk about having a voice actor for freaking Plagueis. The guy that narrated that book was freaking ridiculous.
Yeah, I want the audiobook. I'm wanting to, since you mentioned it. Last stream I was completely conscious for.
So I just looked it up on Wikipedia. And
yep.
And Palpatine is 52 years old in Phantom Menace.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. I knew he was in his early 50s.
Yeah. Because he's 84 during the Battle of Yavin.
Mm-hmm.
man, you're old.
Now I have a very interesting question for you all, and this is just I just want opinions. Given what we've seen with the tech as of late, should episode 4 or parts of episode 4 be re-released with new shots? Preston.
No.
No, and the reason it's almost so serious you have to jump in and say no, man. I mean, even with all that they can do, you just don't f with an original, man. You just stop it.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, man.
Jeremy?
It's created a whole big community of people that love it. No, don't change it. Never.
Are you kind of like talking like that the fan film that they did, was it Scene something where basically
Scene 38.
Scene 38
Yep.
type of thing where they redid the entire Obi-Wan Vader fight,
Yep.
which was cool. But yeah, I don't want to mess with the original.
Insanely good.
It was.
We've had enough redos on the original trilogy. Leave
Hold on,
it
Brandon.
alone.
Yeah.
Leave it alone.
So okay, I'll say this. Hold on. I want to answer Fourzze's question, but it's kind of like I think most people would say no, but here's what I think we all need to prepare for within the next 10 to 20 years. Eventually, I think someone is going to remake the OT, meaning follow the storyline, but it's reshot with new actors and new people to play those characters. And maybe the story doesn't change, but they reboot it, so to speak. Like, I think in our lifetime that will probably happen, because what the original trilogy is like almost 40 years old, right?
Almost.
No, it's over 40.
If it happens, I don't think it'll happen in George Lucas's lifetime.
No. But I think in our lifetime, it eventually will happen, because it would. Here's the bottom line: things like that still make a lot of money.
Yeah, they do.
So
And I think it
could
would.
see that happening.
I can see it happening, and I can see it making a lot of money. And the other thing is, if it is happening in our lifetime, I'm 42 right now. If it's going to happen like the next, 20 years, I mean, I probably might have grandkids that would go see it, right? So, like, you got to remember, these sort of things are made for an audience, and so while we may be getting older, the audience for these sort of things are still going to be young, and they're going to be, look at other movies that they've remade. That, like, okay, a classic example: Planet of the Apes. A fantastic film back in the day, remade by Tim Burton. That new Planet of the Apes trilogy that they did is top notch, right? It is a fantastic trilogy. So I could see them, and like, they reboot James Bond all the time, right?
Yeah.
Even though the old ones are classic, you've still got, like, the whole Daniel Craig thing was actually rebooting from the start.
Yeah, he was an amateur Bond.
It was a very cohesive story from beginning to end for Daniel Craig. So I can see them doing it. It's a reboot all the time. I'm
Well,
surprised.
they're looking. You talk about like Sebastian Stan. Everyone's talking about Sebastian Stan should be Luke, and that's an example of where I could see, like, look, these actors and actresses, they're getting up there in age, man, and we're losing a lot of them. And it's like, and I'm just saying that there's only going to be so much times they can CGI and deep fake Mark Hamill's face, you know, and it's like at some point they're just gonna reboot the whole thing, OT and prequels and all, with all new characters and new technologies, and they can still do that while keeping the story true, right? And I think in our lifetime that will happen. And maybe it won't be until, you know, another 20 years from now, but I'm telling you,
Yeah,
I think it'll happen. And the original stuff will always be there. Yeah, you know. But I think at some point they're gonna have to reboot it for
Bond movies.
Yeah,
I still watch the 1960s. So
I honestly don't think they'll reboot the original trilogy, just because there's so much source material out there for the entire expanded universe that they won't have to. They can just keep pulling from. They could pull from Old Republic. They could pull from High Republic. They could pull from the New Republic. They can, like, there's just so many directions that they can go. I mean, we've had a whole 2 seasons, and we're looking at a 3rd season of The Mandalorian, which has nothing to do with the original trilogy, yet it still feels like Star Wars.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, for sure. And I'm just saying that they
does.
can't. They it's an option, and it would make a lot of money, but you're right, Jeff. Like they have enough material. They don't have to do that, but I still think they will eventually, just because it brings that old material and just modernizes it for these new generations and stuff. And maybe they'll do it. Maybe they won't.
And I mean, honestly, in my opinion, when you don't have somebody like Alec Guinness or Peter Cushing to redo the original trilogy, it would be a hard sell for a lot of fans.
It
Because
depends
I mean,
on
our
who
first
you get for the actors and how many of those original fans are still around.
Don't forget, you're talking about older fans, people who grew up with the originals. I know people nowadays don't. A lot of people nowadays, unless you're really hardcore invested, they don't know who Peter Cushing and Alec Guinness are, but they do know who Ewan McGregor is, and they do know who Liam Neeson is, and they do know who Ray Park is, and they do know who Oscar Isaac and John Boyega are.
And I mean, that's the nice thing about Rebels and the Bad Batch and the Clone Wars, and because you get Tarkin before he's Grand Moff Tarkin, so people know that character.
Yeah.
So I think it would be a hard sell with how much source material
right now,
with how much material is related to the original trilogy for characters. Because even in Rebels, when Ezra finds old Ben Kenobi and Darth Maul, like, that is the CGI version of Alec Guinness. There's no way around it.
I'm glad.
So I think there's
the way that they did.
I think there's so many things tied to the original trilogy as it is that it would be really difficult to reboot it and redo it, because it would screw with so many other things in the universe.
Yeah. Preston, do you have a question?
Yes, I did. Now that I had a point to chime in there. So I just wanted to ask everybody, because I've always thought about this. People have always asked me questions, like just in conversation. You know, it comes up. What's everybody's opinion if episodes 1, 2, and 3 were the original trilogy? Like if George Lucas had just made them in order. Part of the reason why I ask is because, like I said earlier, one of the biggest things that got me about was Anakin's story, and you had so much hope for him, but you already knew the outcome. Like, so take it to a kind of a different mindset. What if you didn't know what was going to happen? What if you didn't know episode 4, 5, and 6? What if 1, 2, and 3 were just the beginning? Like, that was the original trilogy. What's everybody's opinion on that?
So I'm going to start the ball here. There was an interview years and years ago with one of the crew of the original trilogy who had seen the originals. I mean, because episode 1 had a script probably before I was born, and that was a long freaking time ago. And the way it was played out was they didn't have the technology to do it. If you notice in especially episode 1, there is a lot of eye candy. There's a lot of stuff going on outside, a lot of things flying past you. Basically a lot of eye candy to keep you from getting bored. It was stated in an interview that had George done episode 1, 2, and 3 first, it would have been hella political. It would have been a lot of boring scene-to-scene conversations. Yeah, we would have gotten a little bit more Anakin, probably a lot more older Anakin, but it would have been very political. They didn't have the opportunity then. I mean, there obviously would have been more Muppets, because Star Wars, Jim Henson, boy, they were. There would have been far more Muppets, but it would have been politically saturated, and probably pretty boring, to be perfectly honest. I think had they gone back now, knowing what they know, and if they were to they could actually work that political stuff in there and be clever about it without having to distract you visually and still make it interesting. Shows like Lost were very good at that. So that's just my opinion.
So
I hate to interrupt. I gotta go for the evening, gentlemen.
Okay, dude.
I just looked at the clock. I got to split, man. So thank you all for having me on as usual. And thanks to the chat and everybody for hanging out. Preston, we're glad to have you on board, brother. And
thanks, man.
Yeah, if you ever need anything, hit me up. You know where to find me. So everybody, good to see you. Y'all
Much
take
appreciated.
care.
Have a good night, brother.
Later.
Peace, dude.
See you, man.
So to follow up, Aaron, yeah, like George Lucas when he did episodes 4, 5, and 6, he has always stated that he wrote all 9 films and filmed the middle 3 because he wanted to know where those characters came from and where those characters were going. So I think if he had done episodes 1, 2, 3 as the original trilogy, he probably would have stuck around and done all 9 if they had been a success like 4, 5, and 6 were. He would have stuck around and done all 9. It would have been a cohesive storyline.
Would have been great.
Yeah.
Just my opinion on that. Sort of thinking on it. When I was a kid, when I was a wee lad, and I watched the movies, my parents, they had 4, 5, and 6, and 1 and 2 on back on VHS. Okay, super cool. But as I was watching the movies, I watched them very out of order. So like I watched number 5 first, and then I saw number 1, and then probably number 4, then 6, and then 2. It's very out of order. And this sort of ties into, people always say, with having watched 4, 5, and 6 first, we already knew that Anakin was going to be Darth Vader. Well, my opinion, I didn't know that. When I was a kid, I didn't know that. I legit thought that Anakin and Darth Vader were 2 different characters. And then whenever number 3 came out in theaters and I saw that Anakin was Darth Vader, I was like actually really surprised. And I feel like if the movies were released in, chronological order, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and so on, I don't know. I feel like that type of surprise would be there rather than people being, oh, I already know that Anakin's going to be Darth Vader.
Yeah. Ian?
I think the first trilogy, though, was not really so much the surprise of him being Darth Vader. It was just more the how.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That was basically what it was.
Yeah. Okay.
And there's a lot of characters, like there's a lot of shows that are like that, where they would introduce a character who's dark or who's evil, and then you get these like, shows where how did they get to this point?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Most TV shows, when they introduce a very evil character that's like the villain for your main character for a while, you're going to get an episode in there that's how did they get this way?
Mm-hmm. And don't get me wrong, I definitely like that. I like that tactic that they use.
But I mean, on the same token, with Preston's question about Anakin becoming Darth Vader, and would that have changed the story for you? It also would have changed the story for Palpatine too, because you wouldn't have known that Sidious and Palpatine were the same person, right?
They actually don't. They only, in the original trilogy, they make no mention. I don't think there was any mention about him being named Palpatine. He's just called the Emperor.
Yeah.
So going into,
but
and if it wasn't for the fact that Ian McDiarmid was already playing him, some people may not have known,
made the connection.
Wouldn't have made the connection that Senator Palpatine is Darth Sidious, right?
Yeah.
That was the only reason I made the connection as a kid, is because they were played by the same actor, and I just kind of had that like voice kind of memory, and I was like, wait a second, is that the Emperor?
Voice, yeah.
You know,
But they make no mention of him being, a Palpatine at all in the original trilogy.
Right. But on the same token, they never officially call him Darth Sidious. Or no, they do.
Yeah.
They do. They do.
No.
They call him Lord. They call him Lord Sidious. In episode 1, they do call him Lord Sidious.
Yeah, but they never call
the Trade Federation.
They never call him. The thing is, also, they don't call him Darth Sidious in the original trilogy too. He is only known as the Emperor through the entire trilogy.
And
so,
you only hear him referred to as Sidious in the first movie, I think, once.
Yeah,
like in episode 1.
That was where, to me, that's where the whole duality of Palpatine is.
Yeah.
He's Darth Sidious. He's Senator Palpatine.
Yeah.
Right.
And it was genius.
Yep.
Where are we at? Because I had to go check on the wifey.
There's one other hint. Episode 1 had about him. You remember the big parade at the end of the episode 1?
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It's the Emperor's theme, but it's disguised with happy music.
Yep.
Oh, I have to go watch it
That's
now.
the other hint, because the Emperor's theme.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep, it is.
Yeah, that's true.
Now I gotta go watch
Well, what the Emperor's theme is?
Yeah.
It's completely reversed.
Yeah. See, how
That's
can you
crazy.
pick up on that, but you can't pick up on Sarah Michelle Gellar? Come on, Ian.
Boys,
Like
with
Fourzze,
that,
I love you, Ian, but I'm disappointed.
I'm disappointed in myself. And it gets even realized that she and her husband are having a lightsaber fight in Rebels.
Yes, they are.
So with that happy note, I am going to say that it is about time for our after party. So we're gonna go ahead and
Ain't
end
no
the
party
stream.
like the after party.
Ruh-roh.
Ain't that it?
See, now we got to cue that. All right, from Syndicate, Jedi Knight Jeff, Max, Aaron, Ian, and Jeremy, and the leader of this mess of merry men, Mr. Fourzze FX. I got no names tonight, so Fourzze Speedo FX. We ain't gotta go home. We ain't gotta go home, but we got to get the hell up out of here. And remember, bread makes you fat.
Bread makes you fat.
Bread makes you
Bread
fat.
makes you fat.
Bye, y'all.